Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Happy to have you. It's been a while. But I think I've got it sorted out. We have a new campaign set up that allows me to run with any number. So we can run any week, which is awesome. Also, anybody listening wants to come in and give it a try. This is a perfect campaign to do it in. You just want to come see if it's something for you. You can pop in for a show and check it out. So I'm really happy with the new setup I got, and of course we're using a new system too. Why not, right? I think it's a great system. I personally think it's actually the best tabletop role playing system there is. Uh, there's just a lot of heavy onus on the GM, which is fine. I've been doing this for my entire life, so I'm good. But for the players, it's actually quite an easy game to play, and maybe it'll be interesting. We'll see. I've read the games, not just this version, the Cortex Prime that we're using right now, but I read the original stuff from Margaret Weiss years back, and I've never played it though. Has anyone here played any form of Cortex?
I have not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
That
think
would
there's
be a
many.
negative on my part.
Yeah. Like I said, I've read the various iterations of Cortex, and it seems interesting, but I've never played it. So I think this should be interesting. I hope it's fun. It looks fun. But do us a favor and hit that like and share button, and let people know who are be interested in this for sure. And we might have very good news coming in the near future, guys. Just as kind of a side note, Elon Musk has decided that Twitter is going to be the new YouTube. So
Yeah,
maybe
and I'm back on. I'm
I'm
finally, after a few years, I'm back on Twitter.
well. I never left, nor did I ever use it. But uh, uh, if maybe that's the move, because these people are just these people, GOP.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
just wow. Did you see how rabid they are about trying to cancel the new Harry Potter game? My God, dude.
They're rabid about everything. There's no like added degree of rabidness. They're just always rabid.
Yeah, it's true.
They
They're
go from
just
one thing to the next.
constantly enraged. What a way to live. Can you imagine living like that, dude? My God. I
Yep.
personally, lady,
Really great.
I'm always happy. I'm one of those dudes.
I'm
Mhm.
at the point in age in my life that, whatever, and
Yeah,
just myself and be happy.
that's right. I mean,
Although
you
it's,
know.
it seems like every Tuesday night when we play, we test that theory, though, Chester.
Oh no, no, no. I play act over here quite a bit. No, no. I'm a very happy, chilled person, dude. I mean, what more can I ask, man? My kids are doing great. They're well educated, intelligent, successful. I mean, I got a great wife. We never fight or argue. We're perfectly simpatico. Um,
Yet she stole the car keys to your sports car
She
today.
didn't steal them. She borrowed them. I don't know why, because she has her own set, but she probably couldn't find them. But that's all right. She's going to the yoga. No, it's not yoga. It's jazzercise. But she does wear them sexy yoga pants, though. I'm all about that
See,
tower.
that's what distracted you.
It
Yeah.
is. I'm all about the
I'm
yoga
proud of you.
pants. Yeah.
I'm proud of you, Chester. You're
Thank you.
making it big in life.
Yeah. Well, do you have a significant other, Tower?
No,
No. Well, you have to
I
work. You're
have a
still young though.
motorcycle.
You got
Yeah, I
time.
have a motorcycle.
That's a partial of replacement. Hmm, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But anyway, so happy to have you guys all here. Hopefully, everyone shares it out, and we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. There's no reason not to. Like I said to anybody, with the way I've set this campaign up, anybody can come and join us. You really, really, really. If you ever want to try it out, even though you call us nerds all the time, in a very hateful and venomous way, you're welcome to come try it out. We'd love to have you. This campaign I set up is perfect for it. So, which was the point. So because we had many shows where we couldn't do anything because we didn't have everybody here, which isn't anybody's fault. I mean, life is life, right? It's not anyone's fault. It's my fault, really, for making the situation as tight as I did with Imperius.
It
So
is your fault.
it is my fault.
I
But
love that world.
It was great. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
well built world. I
thank you.
enjoyed it.
Well, hopefully this one will be. This is different though. It's different. But let me go ahead and start getting into it. So let me share so you guys can see, of course, and of course everyone else will be able to see, as usual. We did
Mhm.
find a couple of solutions for some things which I think are awesome. So there you go. I've shared my screen so you guys can take a look and watch along. Do me a favor, as usual, guys, lady particularly. Keep an eye on that chat for me if you would.
Mr.
Uh,
Dave with us.
yeah, because I can't see it. So
You
anyway, here
don't
we go.
got 2 screens like me.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got two screens, but I need three
Hey,
to do
Chester, I have
that.
a
I
question.
got a third one, it's blank.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever asked this. What kind of bear is that in the background?
that sir is a grizzly.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, Bugbear
Okay.
is a nickname I've had for a long time. I used to play football when I was a kid, and I was a middle linebacker, and I was pretty good on running downs. I was pretty solid linebacker when it was a run, because what I would do is I get up in the middle, even though I usually get at least halfway through the game, I was certainly being double blocked. But when I come in, even if I'd have a couple people on me, if I could get one finger on your jersey, you ain't going anywhere, right? And I cause all manner
Well,
of
you have key fingers?
Oh my
Oh
God,
my god.
it's like devastating. But I was really good at that particular thing. Pass plays, I'm too damn slow. But running, I was pretty good at that for as far as middle linebacker. And my coach that I had, he was like an ancient guy. He was probably 150, and he was probably a general in the First World War. I'm not sure, but he was very old military guy. And he said that boy is like a bugbear in the middle,
Bugbear
What
in the
what even
middle.
is a bugbear?
a troublesome thing. Yeah.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
an actual?
Yeah, it's
No, he just
also
made
kind
it up
of
right now.
had been embodied in the form of a bear, a werebear, a bear man. But it's basically a Britishism, which means a troublesome thing, a thing that causes trouble. But he was just an old
Okay.
dude, and I don't even know the Americans ever used that, but I don't know. He probably got it from the British when he was in the war. But he just called me a bugbear in the middle, and it just stuck. It's just one of those things.
GOP.
Hmm.
The road drivers are bugbears.
Yeah,
One could call them other things.
yeah.
I don't know if there's children watching.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
grizzly bears. That's right, Dave. But you don't pick your nicknames; they kind of get picked for you. So it is what it is. But I don't
Little
mind it.
snowflakes, they call me.
Well, well, the cool thing is the translation into Japanese is oniguma. It's really cool.
Uniguma.
Oniguma,
Oniguma.
devil bear.
Oniguma.
Yeah,
Devil bear.
yeah. It actually sounds cool in Japanese. A lot of times when you try to translate something in the Japanese, it's like weird, right? Like the kamikoto knives that all these YouTubers are selling. They're made in China. Sorry. Anyway, let's get into it. You guys ready? All right.
yeah.
Now, in this game, what we're going to do in this campaign setting, in this game particularly, it's not overly complicated from the player's point of view, but it is kind of old school in one very particular way. You are going to be keeping a track of a lot of information. So make sure you're going to need a piece of paper or a notebook for making your character right now, of course. But you also make sure you have some space on that or a side piece of paper or something like that to take notes because you're going to have to take notes. Okay. That's kind of the old school part of it. Other than that, this is a very modern game. So make sure you get your pencils and pens and paper and all that ready. And we'll go ahead and start getting into this. Now, let me bring this up real quick. There we go. Okay, cool. Now, in this game, before we're gonna build our characters and learn to play in game. Okay, so don't worry about it. But there is one thing that needs to be mentioned about this game so that everybody can understand. Um, this game is all about dice, and there's three main ways you use dice. One is to roll them and take a result as normal. Now, in this game, there are 4-siders, 6-siders, 8-siders, 10-siders, and 12-siders. Nary a 20-sider in sight. So that's refreshing, right? But of course, rolling dice, and you're going to be rolling multiple dice, and gaining a result. That's one way to use the dice. The second way to use the dice is stepping up or stepping down dice. And you'll see I'll make notations here in the story file with an SD or an SU, right? But stepping up is not like most other games where I have a +1 longsword and a +3 strength. There's none of that. There are no plus anything in the game. It's stepping up, and what that means is, say you have a 6-sider, the dice that you're rolling for one of your abilities, right? That 6-sider, if it's being stepped up 1, then it's stepped up from a D6 to a D8. Stepped up 2, it would be D10, right? Stepping down 1 would go from a D6 to a D4. Stepping down 2 means you've lost the dice because there's nothing below a D4. Also in this game, if something steps you up beyond D12, you've either succeeded on a godlike level or you're KO'd. Okay, we'll get into that later when we get into that situation. But so that's the second way, is stepping up dice, which means the size of the dice increases. And the third way you use dice in this game is just the size of the dice itself, meaning how many sides it has. And that is specifically with effect dice. Once again, we'll get into it when that comes up. But that's it. There's three ways you use the dice: roll for results, stepping up or down, and the size of the dice itself. Meaning it doesn't matter it's not matter what's rolled on it. The number means nothing. Just the size of the dice matters. And that's it. The whole game is that. Everything is that. There's nothing else to need to know. And as we play and we get into some creature encounters and stuff like that, you will see. I normally don't do this, but today I have put up the actual statistics of the creatures on the page for us when we come look at it, and you'll see how simplified it is, how easy it is. Now, I can the creatures, the encounters I have for today are, rather basic, but I can step them up to be as complicated as characters will be when they're done too. It's a fun game. Like I said, it takes a lot for the GM has to do a lot of work, but once you've done it, I think it's really smooth. This is a kind of game, almost GOP like Marvel superheroes role playing game, that it's so in my head that I can run it anywhere. As long as I have dice, paper, and a pencil, I can. It doesn't matter. I don't need any books. This game is like that.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's cool. All right. So first thing we need to do is everyone needs to choose to take a name and write it down, please. Okay. Just to let you know, we are playing in the modern world. It is November 2022.
Modern world.
Yep. For setting
November
wise, so there's no elves,
2022.
there's no aliens, nothing like that. It's a completely human endeavor. Okay. Once you got
Okay.
that name, just go ahead and give it to me. Well, not yet. Don't
Um,
have to give it to me yet. I have to make another decision. All right. Now, I'm going to do something today that I thought I was sitting thinking about it. I've never actually done in the history of running games. I'm going to put some I'm going to put a little bit of a control over some of the narrative of your character creation, which I've never done. Now, this narrative is going to be in your past, so it doesn't necessarily affect directly the current, personality of the character that you'll be playing. But narratively, I am going to be taking a little bit of license here. Like I said, I usually don't do. But this is where it comes down to. You get your name. What I need to is I have four roles. Now these are not mechanically involved. So the game does have a mod for roles, but I'm not using that. But there are going to be a story-based roles. There's four of them, and I need you each to choose one. So let me explain these four, so you guys can talk amongst yourselves and pick one. Okay? We have the incarnate, the lamb, the martyr, and the absolved. Now, the narrative controls in this are very simple. The incarnate has a legacy of magic in the family. Maybe they're fortune tellers or something like that. Like I said, it is the modern world. So everything seems as it is normal. But the incarnate has some kind of magical tradition that you, even from childhood, know about. It's not like Harry Potter level, but there is this thing. Grandma has visions or something like that. Okay, that's the incarnate. So that's the control, right? The lamb must be a child, prepubescent particularly, something around 10, right? In session 0. And when we start playing, they will be an adult by that time. The martyr needs to be generally a good guy or girl, like generally a kind of a nice person. And the absolved is a criminal, a person who has done something really bad. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a career criminal. It could have been a single act, but it's whatever it is, it's bad. It's not a little thing. It's a big thing. So these, and there's only three of you. So if there any one particularly that you guys don't want to be involved with, like maybe the last one, then you don't have to. So any questions on that?
No.
Now, for like, let's just say the absolved. It's not it's not like a personality trait, right? Like the martyr has to be generally good. The absolved could be a good person who just did a really bad thing, right?
Right. And session
Squirted
0 is
money
a
from a
decade
fountain.
before. We're 10 years before the current year. Where
Okay.
today's session is well, a piece of it is happening in that. So 10 years later, you might be completely different. Who knows what your character's like. But at the moment of creation, because we're creating characters right now, right? At this moment, it is the year 2012. Coolio's on the radio, and it's summer. So
Mm.
I need one of you to be I need all of you to choose one of these roles. Once again, the incarnate, the only narrative in insertion on my part is there is magic in the family and you know it, right? Like I said,
Are we in America? Like a modern world like
well, okay,
America?
that's a good question. I do need you guys in 2012, where we're starting session 0 today. I do need you to be geographically near each other, right? It doesn't have to be the same town or anything like that, but like say the Midwest, California,
Yeah.
Idaho, something like that. I need you guys in a so make that decision first and tell me what you like. I'll write that down.
Could we be on the I don't know, somewhere on the maybe East Coast, South, like Tennessee
He's
area, somewhere in there?
Brazil. Come on. Don't
No,
let
no,
Huh?
in
Tennessee is
America,
not on the
please.
East
In
Coast.
America,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I
not
mean, we could be in
California.
like
Not California.
Yeah, just make
Okay,
it.
how
Make a
about we're
decision.
California.
Rhode
Rhode
visiting
Island.
DC?
Rhode
We're in DC
Island.
right now. Oh,
We
Rhode
be
Island's fine. I don't care.
Rhode Island. Rhode Island. Okay.
East Coast. We can go. We can go New England.
So New England.
I
Okay,
don't
New
even know what
England.
that is.
Oh, that's all. I know it
Okay.
well, but yeah,
Never
it's
seen
fine,
it.
and it actually works out pretty well. But anyway, all right, I'm going to write that down. So New England. All righty. So you guys are in New England. And each of you, when you're doing your biography, you can choose exactly where. But general vicinity is good enough for now. And so, therefore, I need to know who's chosen what. So we have the incarnate. Like I said, is a person who has magic in the family. The lamb is a child, like
Yeah.
about
Take
10
the
years
child.
old. Huh, lady?
I'll take the child.
You'll take the
I'll
lamb.
do
So write
incarnate.
down. So, lady, what is your character's name?
Mavis.
Okay. And she's from New England. Oh, okay.
A transplant to New England.
That's
Since I got
fine.
an accent and everything. Okay.
So Mavis.
Nickname Max. How's that?
That's fine. Okay. And you are the lamb. And your age here, session 0, what? 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. Prepubescent, please.
Yeah, 9's fine.
9? Okay. So
And I'll do incarnate because that'll work with my character that I have in mind.
okay.
So Tower gets to be a good guy or the
Or the bad
criminal
guy.
that wants to
One or
come
the
from.
other, yeah. So let me
Yeah,
see. I got
you know.
GOP is playing the incarnate. And GOP, which character's name?
Jacob Maccabee.
Oh, interesting. You guys should have been from the Midwest, I think.
Well, my character actually is a transplant from England. So
Of
yeah,
course.
He's got to have the
Maccabee.
accent.
yes, as
Okay,
in the
I'll just spell it
historical.
that way. And how old is your character? It does for your character. It doesn't matter actually. Actually, at all.
Um,
It doesn't. It doesn't matter at all.
we'll say he's like 22
22
at
at
this
this
point.
time. Okay. All right. And last, Tower, you can either be the martyr, who, like I said, he's not a saint, but he's just, a generally good person, or her, either way. And the absolved is has done something really bad, or is a career criminal, or something like that. But
I'll
it,
be upset.
you'll be the absolved. Okay.
How do I even spell it?
Absolved. Absolved.
You don't have to get the spelling right because these are just your
I just
notes.
want to know it for my own personal knowledge gain.
Okay.
Cool.
So we
I
got
got it.
Tower. And Tower, what is your character's name?
Xander Lyons II.
Nice. Lions. And that's spelled with a L-L-Y?
Yes.
Junior. Okay. And what is your character's age? Once again, it doesn't matter.
35.
Okay. All right. And you don't have to tell the party, but it might well come up in the future. So when you're doing your background stuff, after the show, you probably want to kind of put in there what he did. All right. So
I have a
very,
really bad idea of what he did. Oh,
huh?
he is also. I have a really bad idea of what he did, but
That's fine. I mean, it's something bad though. It is bad. It's not
it's
some
like
stole the
catastrophic
Snicker.
bad.
It's bad. Yeah.
No. It's world changingly bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. Actually, it's a
It's like the
necessity.
worst event I can think of, and he's part of that.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I need to turn a light on here. We got a storm rolling in. I can't see nothing.
Uh-oh.
Your crime is that you stole someone's sweet roll.
Oh
Can I
no, he
say part of
fathered
what
Prince
Can I
Charles.
say part of what the crime is, GOP? Jester? Does it matter? I'm not sure.
He fathered the royal prince. It's his bastard, actually.
Oh no, I was gonna say he was part of committing 9/11.
Oh yeah, it's not. That's not cool.
Yeah, well, and you're the wrong race, but unless you're in the
That's
government
why.
side of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You work for the
Oh,
CIA.
Oh, there it is.
That's why. That's
There it
the
is.
worst of it. I
There
guess.
it is.
Like
But
part of the
yeah.
reason 9/11 happened.
So I can see now. Excellent. All right, so let's get into it. It is the summer of 2012, and of course
Good
we
thing
have
it's
all
summer
of
because the
this.
world ended in December.
What was that?
It's a good thing it's in middle of summer because the world's going to end in December.
This is true. That is true. That is true. That is a big hype on the radios and the TVs and the internets and stuff. But of course, we're using the Cortex Prime system today, and we'll just go ahead and get into it, and you'll see how I've kind of set this world up. Now, we'll start with Lady. Now, Lady, it's a nice summer day. You are a 9-year-old Mavis. Maybe you're in the backyard playing with dolls, or you're running around climbing trees with your friends, or you're reading a book, or whatever. And you're just kind of going about your normal day. And tell us, what is it you're doing, and where exactly are you?
I'm climbing a tree
Okay,
in the backyard because I see there's a new bird nest up there. I want to see what's inside.
you go to eat them.
No, I'm gonna look at him first.
Okay, so you're climbing up the tree, and are you with anybody?
My friend Fred was supposed to show up, but he hadn't showed up yet.
Damn Fred. I understand.
Men
Fred's,
are always hold men are always holding me up,
yeah.
even when
Well,
I'm lying.
Fred's in their ascots, man. It's it's frustrating. I know. I know. I understand. But So you're climbing up the tree, and you're looking at the bird nest. You come up, and there's a couple of little chicks in there that are real close to getting out of the nest. They're almost fully feathered, and you don't see mama bird around. Grandpa said don't touch them when they're in there, or their mother will kick them out. So you're just looking, and you think you might have heard something. You're not sure. So this is what we're going to do. What I want you to do, and we got a great little thing here we found that's going to be very useful for us guys. Go ahead, lady, and take because you're just a little kid. So take yourself
Mhm.
a 4-sider and a 6-sider and roll it. There we go. Oh, that went over to a
Good.
place I can't see it, but I can see them here. So it's a 4, and oh, you can do. Oh, that's neat. That does work nice. So it's a 4 and a 1. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
the way this works is very, very simple. Now, she is a kid, so her dice are so she is not fledged. She's not a she's still a fledgling, right? So what happens in that situation is this: you take 2 of the dice, and in this game, sometimes you might be rolling 4, 5, 6 dice at once, but you only take
Mhm.
2 of them and you add them together. Now, normally that would be a 5, but in this game, every time you roll a 1, it's a failure, right?
Right. Don't add
And
it.
it's right. Well, it's called a hitch. But I'm using the Doom pool in this game, so normally I would give you a complication, but that's not how it works with the Doom pool. Instead, I get to take whatever dice that one was on and add it to my Doom pool. It was a 6-sider, so I just added another 6-sider to my pool, and I start with 2 6-siders. Now, when I gain a dice, I can either add it to the pool or I can step up one of my dice. So I could have made one of the 6-siders an 8-sider, but I'm not going to do that yet. And that's how it works. So as the game goes on, my dice pools go to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more devastating, right?
So
It,
I have to take the 6-sider away from my pool?
yeah, well, it just doesn't count. Anytime I roll a 1, it just doesn't count. So all you got was a 4. And that's not really enough to do anything, right?
Okay.
Therefore, I have to create a challenge rating for it, and I get to roll my dice. Not the one I just got, and I rolled higher than that. So you think you heard something, you turn around, and there's some scary man grabbing a hold of you. You start trying to scream. He cups your mouth with his hand very harshly, and he just starts running off toward the street where there's a running car waiting. He jumps in the car, and there's a lady in there, and she's very creepy looking. And she has some manner of needle, a syringe, and she jabs it in your leg, and within seconds, everything goes black.
All right.
Okay, so
There's
let's.
nothing I can do. So,
No,
right?
there is nothing you can do. You're
Okay.
right. Yeah, nothing you can do. Where am I here? Yep. Okay. So same thing with let's go with Tower. Tower, you are 35 years old. You have done something horrible recently. Where are you and what you're doing?
I'm in Chicago in a bar playing poker, smoking a cigar.
Okay.
Oh,
You're playing poker, smoking a cigar in a bar, and you're I don't know if you're conflicted or not, so we don't know exactly who your character is yet. But a real pretty lady comes up and is sitting next to you, showing you quite a bit of attention.
Ooh, I'm gonna buy her a drink and buy myself a drink while I'm at it.
Oh, very well. She said she prefers whiskey.
Oh, I like my Manhattans on the rocks.
So do I, actually. I don't care for the rocks, but double cherry. I do
Ooh,
love Manhattan, yeah. Anyway, so she's chatting with you and stuff, and things are moving in that direction, dude. She seems to want some, and she's kind of biting the lip and playing with the hair and finding any opportunity to touch you. The
uh,
signs, Tower.
yeah, yeah.
So
I see where you're going with this.
are
Uh,
you interested?
yes.
All right, cool. Well, I don't know if you're living in the city or you're renting an apartment or you're at a hotel or whatever, but you take her back to your place.
Condo on the top floor of the Sears Tower.
That would be Chicago.
he said he
Yes,
was in Chicago.
Well,
That's what
I
I'm saying.
did.
Like that's way out of our region.
I don't know what he's doing. You're in New England somewhere, dude. You're not in
Yeah.
Chicago. You're in New
This is
England. We made
well,
that decision.
yeah, 10 years from now.
No,
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 no.
right
Right
now.
now,
Right now.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah,
I'm
right
in
now.
the tallest. Okay, I have a apartment in the tallest skyscraper on the top floor of New England.
Of
of
New
New
England.
England.
Rock and roll.
Yeah,
That would probably be New Haven, I would say.
there you go.
Probably New
I don't.
Haven. It could be Boston, but it's probably New Haven. We'll go with New Haven. But anyway, you go to your condo, you take the girl in there, things get hot and heavy, and you're enjoying yourself. And she's quite eager and energetic, possibly a ballerina.
Oh,
Yeah,
flexible.
Or is she
yeah.
multi-jointed?
Yeah, multi-jointed. But you're having your good old time, and you're kind of resting after, kind of having a cigar after the deed. And she goes into the bathroom. She comes out, and she's thrown just a shirt on, and she lays down next to you and smiles, and then she swings over and jabs a needle into your leg. What do you
Oh,
do?
she gave me. Uh, I immediately take my other leg and I kick her in the
Okay.
face.
All right. So now you're a full-fledged adult. So there is a complication on the table though because of the syringe. And this is a natural one. I'm not adding one. But because I'm not spending dice to put the complication in play, I don't get to roll it. Okay, so it doesn't come
Can
into
I can
rolling.
I can I
And no,
can I
let me.
disagree?
I'm trying to explain a little bit of mechanics here. Give me a minute, Tower. Now, what that means is in this game, sometimes, like say for instance, we were playing a fantasy game, and you had someone who was the rogue character. And they take their various dice and they make their pool and they make their roll, but in there they're wearing a pair of goggles that lets them see better at night, right? And you would think, well, okay, well, that should add to that's an object that could help the roll. Say they're trying to pick a lock, that should add to the roll. Yes, but only if they have that as an asset on their character sheet. Otherwise, it doesn't involve in the rolling, right? So in this game, you can take anything in the environment, spend a PowerPoint on it to make it something that benefits you or even a complication for the enemy, possibly, depending on the situation, like throwing a bunch of broken
Oh,
glass on the floor.
so
Th-
I could make my cigar an asset, blow
You
smoke in
could.
her face.
You could. Exactly. And that's one of the things I love about this game. The control you have is complete. You can anything you think of, you can try to do, and all it does is cost you a PowerPoint. Now, in this game, PowerPoints are moving left and right constantly, right? This is different than the other games we played. There's a lot of PowerPoints involved. Matter of fact, everybody take one now.
What should I say? Call that PP PowerPoint or
That's
Yep.
what the game does. Yeah.
Plot point, PowerPoint,
Yeah.
just whatever.
Now, as we go, you guys are going to get more and more resource piles. So, like I said, you need to keep note of this. Now, if we were at the table, I would throw you a chip or something like that, a coin or something like that. But here we're going to keep track of everything on paper. You're going to have several resources, so make sure you're writing everything down and keeping track of it. All right, so you try to make your kick. Now, we haven't made the character yet. We're going to do that momentarily. But let's just say you're a normal adult. So take so we'll say you have, what kind of bad guy are you?
uh I'm like a sleazy behind the counter rich guy.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know how to
All right.
describe that.
Then we'll just start out pretty standard. Take two 6-siders and an 8-sider and roll them. So let me come over here to the dice thing so we can all see it. Okay. So two
Two
6-siders and an 8-sider and roll them. All right.
Oh, nope. Clear that. Nope. 2 6 and an 8.
Okay. Now this is our first because a lady's playing a child, so they don't have full dice. But this is the first normal human roll we've had, right? This is a normal adult roll. And what do we have there? That's a bit of. I can still see them over here. So we had what was that? Two. What were the numbers? Do you remember?
Fuck.
Oh, no, I can
You
see
said
him. No, I
four
can see
over
him.
there?
I found it. Yeah, no, that's this thing is awesome, dude. All
No,
right, so we had a
no, no,
six,
no.
a 2, and an 8.
Oh,
So therefore, what you need to do is make a decision. Okay. Obviously, you want the highest roll possible because in this situation, when you initiate something, for instance, kick her in the head, right? You roll first, and then I roll. In the situation with Lady, I actually roll first and give her a difficulty. Okay, that's how the game works.
Okay.
All right, but in this situation, you need to choose what two dice you're going to keep. Now, the knee jerk reaction is to take the 6 and the 8 and make it a 14, which is a pretty good roll, right? Because you only choose two. It doesn't matter how many dice. You could roll 7 dice. It doesn't matter. You're only choosing two, right?
Okay.
Now, normally you would just take that 14. Now, the negative side of that is the only dice left is a six-sider. And this is where effect dice come in. Because remember, I told you that this game's all about dice, but there's only three ways that they happen. Either you're rolling dice for a result, as we just did, you're stepping up or down the dice, meaning the size of the dice, or the effect dice are simply the size. So on that effect dice, you rolled an 8, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant the number you rolled. We only care about the size. So you have two six-siders and an 8. So you need to keep one of those as an effect die. Now keep in mind, the higher the effect die, the bigger the effect die, the more significant, obviously, right? So you have to make a choice. You either take an 8 as your attack and keep that significant D8 as your effect die, or you take the 14 and use the six-sider as your effect die. Which would you like to do?
Uh, what was my first option? Have the 8 as my effect die.
That would be the most, if you hit, that would be the biggest hit. But it also, an 8 is not so hard for me to roll. And I do have, my Doom pool is pretty small right now, but I do have 3 dice. They're 3 six-siders though. So, you know, I'm just saying that when it comes to rolling the dice, there are choice
Now,
involved.
is this a permanent decision towards my character? Or is this just
No, it's
in
not
this
at all.
scenario?
No, it's just in this second. It's how combat works.
Okay.
Where I'm
Okay. So I'll
basically
take
demonstrating
I'll
combat.
take the higher. Okay, I'll take the higher number then.
Okay, so
Or
what that results in is an 8 for your attack and a D8 for the effect die. Okay, now keep in mind in this game you have PowerPoints and you get a lot of them. Okay, as time goes on, before you roll. We haven't got it in how to make your dice pool yet, which we're going to do here when we start playing. But you can spend a PowerPoint in the beginning to add an additional prime set die, which you don't understand now, but I'll explain in a minute. Or you can spend a PowerPoint to keep an additional die for your total. Or you can spend a PowerPoint to, step up or down, up or down, depending on the situation, an effect die. Now, obviously, you do have a PowerPoint, but at this moment, there's no reason to use it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll my dice. Oh, sorry. I have the dice here for number, not for rolling. So I have to roll dice open just like everyone else. This game, the DM does not roll silent, which could be bad, but we'll see. Anyway, here we go. So the same thing happens for me. I take the two highest rolls. So I have a 6 and a 4, all right, and a 2. Obviously, I am not. I'm not attacking you. I'm using a syringe. So I'm going to take the 6 and the 4, and that is a 10. So my total is higher than your total. Okay. Now, you have a decision to make. And once again, I'm explaining how combat works right now, right? So you have a decision to make. You can either take the loss, and in doing so, you gain a power point, or you can push it and you can roll again and try to get higher than me. And it will go back and forth until someone gives up. That's how it works. So either take our power point and accept the defeat, or try to, try harder.
I'll try harder.
Okay. So go ahead and roll again. Same thing. 2 six-siders and an 8-sider. Okay. Now, you roll another 1, which can't use that. That does nothing for you. So that comes over to my Doom pool is now up to 4. And of course, you got yourself a 6 and another 6 on the 8-sider, right?
Yep.
That's we have to remember. That's one of the problems though with the dice. I mean, let me see here. Can I? How do I do that? I can switch it back and forth. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the 6 is on the 8. So that 1 is useless. So it doesn't matter. Might as well keep the 8-sider for the effect die because you only got a 6. And I have one more roll in this. Once again, I roll everything. Oh, what am I doing? God damn, I gotta remember not to do that. Sorry. As you see, my doom pool is already growing. All right. And
All
I get
fours.
an
Dang.
8. Yes, I get an 8. So I win. Now, normally this would continue to go back and
Wait.
forth, but the
Oh,
needle was put into round 1. And now that round 2 is done of the combat, you are out. You have been drugged to sleep. Okay. But in that situation, because you didn't relent, right? And we continued, you don't get a PowerPoint.
okay.
Okay, that's how it works. And PowerPoints are there. It's actually very easy to get PowerPoints. You'll see as we go forward that you're constantly acquiring and using them. It's not like other games, guys. PowerPoints are an actual resource in this game, a real one. Okay, all right. So you everything goes black. All right. Next, I'll just leave the dice up here because we're going to need it here in a moment, I'm assuming. Now, Jacob, you are the incarnate. That's right. You're a 22-year-old man somewhere in New England. Where are you and what are you doing, sir?
Uh, I'm in Boston. I just flew over from the UK because my stepfather died, and my mother's living in Boston, so I'm going to help her through her time of need, essentially. So that's why I just got off the plane, and I'm on my way over to see her.
All right. So you head over and you get over to mom. Mom is not necessarily very old, right? She's probably in her 40s. May
Mhm.
could be in her 50s if she was a late marrier. But your mom's not particularly old, and you come over and you're talking to mom and consoling her for her loss. Your stepdad. Did you get along with your stepdad or no? Or did you?
Not really.
Not really.
I
Okay.
was, he kind of. I feel well. My character joined up with the military, and my he kind of feels resentful that his stepfather essentially took his mom out of the country with him, and moved away.
Oh, I get it. I get it. That makes sense. Yeah. So, um, now, what is it your character does in general? I mean, you're only
Um,
22. You might just be a student. I mean, you're pretty young.
yeah, he's hoping. Well, he's trying to get a student visa in the states. But he was in the military for a while.
Okay.
So that's something like he got out recently.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um,
4 years. Yeah, perfect. So you have
yeah.
military training. You get out. Mom's sad. You go see mom. Maybe get a chance for her to use that GI Bill. Yeah. Or whatever the British
In
equivalent
England?
is.
Yeah, the British equivalent is,
I'm
yeah.
sure they have it. Yeah. All right. Now you're sitting there and you're chatting with mom, and now your character is an adult military as well, which we haven't created. So we're going to do that in a moment. But you're going to have a little bit better dice in this situation. So I would say take 3 8-siders and roll them.
Okay. Get out my. Here we go. Roll dice. 1 second.
That was not 4. Well, that was 3. Yeah. Now there's a one
Yeah, it
in
was
there.
3.
Yeah, there's a one in there.
Yeah,
And
seems
that's
like a one
mine.
in everybody's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of taking another 6-sider, I'm going to take one of the 6-siders and I'm going to step it up to an 8-sider. Okay. So you had with that. These are all 8-siders, but you did have a 4, and an 8. These are just simply a roll. And actually, I'm supposed to roll first. I should have done that. But your total is an 11. I'm going to roll my thing. Now, I don't have to roll my entire Doom poll together if I don't want to. It doesn't matter if I get a botch or anything. You guys get a gain out of it, but it doesn't matter. But uh, in this instance, I will. Right. So I'm
All
up to
right.
3d6 and an 8. So let's roll. Okay. So we have, I will take a total of 9 with I don't need with my effect dice of a d8. So I have not beaten you. You're sitting there with mom, and you hear some scuffling in the hallway outside. Let's say your mom lives in a brownstone, right? I'll walk up, and you hear some noise out in the hallway. And you're very suspicious of it. What would you like to do?
I motion for my mom to stay back, and I go, I'm going to cautiously go check out what's going on.
Okay. So now your effect die is very low because you didn't have an effect die, right? Those two just add together and you get a
Mhm.
default D4, and D4 sucks. All right, in this game, because it's an effect die, there's no rolling going on. One of the big problems with rolling D4s is the fact that they come up one a lot, and which makes
Yeah.
me more powerful, right? You guys have to be careful about that. But because already we haven't even really started, and my dice pool is doubled and stepped up once already, right? I'm loving it, by the way. But anyway, you go over and you do your thing. So in this case, you're going to make a skill roll, right? Now, like I said, we haven't made the characters yet, but let's just assume it's your d8s across the board, which is kind of average, right? It's standard. Your character will be done a bit different in the when we get it done, but for right now, roll your 3/8 again to stealthily move over. So let me give you your difficulty, because in tests, this is called a test. Combat, you roll first, then I roll. In tests, I roll first. Now, keep in mind, we haven't had the situation yet, but in this game, you have to beat my roll, not tie it. You have to beat it. So let me go ahead and roll the difficulty here. And I have no idea what this dice over here is. Oh, it's a 6. Nice. So I have there's a 10 difficulty for it, and I have a D8 effect die. So,
Okay. So I'll roll 3d8.
yep, 3d8. Yep. All right, much better.
That
Uh,
is good.
so you did beat my roll, and you have an equal effect die. So you're because in this game, if your effect die is lower than the challenge effect die, your interaction is successful, but it's not a great success. In this case, you did match my effect die, which is fine. You do have to beat the roll, but effect die matching is fine. So you have moved over the door very quietly, and you've actually gotten yourself a little bit better of a vantage point for your listening. Um, it's the weirdest shit, dude, but you think there's some kind of combat team outside the goddamn door. You have experience with this.
Okay. Um. All right. Well, shoot. Are they armed with like? Are they? What are they armed with? Is they have
Oh, you can't
weapons on?
see them; you can only hear.
Oh,
But
okay.
the rattle and the sound and the metal, it sounds like a tack team. Because you have experience with it. If you didn't, you wouldn't know. But you do have experience with it, so it sounds like a tack team, dude.
Is there something heavy I can put in front of the door?
Grandfather clock, made in China.
Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna try and
In
put that in
real
front
life?
of the door and then head out. Try and see if I can buy myself time to maybe try and get out the back. Although I would assume they're probably surrounding the place.
Well,
Okay.
as you're moving the grandfather clock in place, the door does pop. They literally use a door popper, the big heavy ones. But you do get it in place, and you're kind of able to keep them wrangled in the door for a second. But as you do that, you feel a pinch in your back.
So what am I gonna roll?
Well, I don't know. You're not going to roll anything. Are you going to check what that pinch might have been?
Yeah, I'm going to look behind me because I just got poked in the back.
Well, you kind of go back, you turn around, you don't see anybody, you're feeling your back, and you pull out a trank dart,
Oh shoot!
and down you
Well, I
go.
guess I was. Yeah, I wasn't as stealthy as I thought. Okay.
Now,
I
of
feel like
course,
there's a theme going on.
well, now this was just kind of a demonstration of how the mechanics work, right? We're going to create characters here in a minute, but it's you get it, you guys get it.
Yeah,
It's pretty
simple enough.
straightforward, right? And how you build your dice pool depends on what applies, and we'll get into how what options you have for building those pools momentarily. But basically, you're going to end up with three prime sets. Now, what prime sets mean in this game, we're using abilities, which is and each of the three sets has three. Well, the skills don't. But two of them have three aspects. So the abilities have physical, mental, and social. Simple. So whichever one applies, you would take whatever dice that is to apply to your dice pool. The second one we're using is, and every Cortex game uses, is distinctions. And distinctions are you're going to have three of them, and they are descriptive of who you and what you are. So, like, say, if we were playing a fantasy game, swift, accurate ranger could be one, right? And it gives us a lot of information. You're quick, you're a good shot, and you're a ranger. So in any situation that any one of those things would apply, you can take that distinction die, whatever it is, and use it. And you'll have three of those. Those also will have skills, highlighted skills attached to them. And the third prime set we're using in this game are skills, which I'll give them to you later. And you're going to have a certain amount of skills. Now, unless it's something that requires training, like say brain surgery, anybody can try any skill, even if you don't have any points in it, and that's okay. You get a default D4. So that's how it works. But those are going to be those are our three main things we're using. And that's kind of it. And from those three things, you choose a dice from each, if you can, to make your dice pool, just like you saw we just did. And then you'll have some assets and other things that might even give you more dice. And of course, PowerPoints can be spent to to do that as well. Now, all of you, because you did various interactions in your situation, everybody take an XP. One. So another resource we need to keep track of. Okay. Now in this game, I'm doing the milestone based XP because the other stuff is stupid. But do keep in mind, the Margaret Weiss version of this game, which came out long ago, is Margaret Weiss is the writers of Dragons of Pern. Dragonlance, sorry. And she do the Pern stuff too? She might have.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway,
As
this
a game, I don't think there was a
um,
game made with that.
I don't know, no, but I
Was it?
think she might have been the author of those. But anyway, Margaret Weiss is a freaking
No,
legend.
she's not the
Yeah,
author of
no,
those.
Dragonlance is what it is. But she's a freaking legend, is what she is. She's up there
Yeah.
with Monty Cook, right? These guys, as major players in the creation of D&D and the role playing world. She's a big deal, and of course, she's straight up role player lady, right? She's normal. So if you read the original Cortex stuff, which she used for her superhero game, which is I own those books. They're awesome. It's awesome. I never played it, but it looks great. Um, she's normal. The people who own this now, because she got out, she was like that. She just put her hands up. Nope, and she's finished. And someone bought it, and they had a Kickstarter to revive Cortex Prime, where we are here today. And I'm glad they did. But when you're going through the book and reading, it's pretty damn woke, right? It's definitely your hippie chai latte San Francisco dude that has written this book. And unfortunately, he's not the greatest writer, and it's a bit confusing in certain spots, but I've been able to get around it. And a lot of the things, especially like experience points and stuff like that, it's such, how do you feel type of thinking. It's not proper role playing. The only good thing is that even though clearly this is how he feels and how he thinks, he did have the wherewithal to put all the other normal options in the game. So we'll be using those. Okay. We're not going to be using it. How do you feel? Did you challenge your beliefs today? And literally, that shit is in this game, but
Oh
not
God.
here, baby. Not on my watch.
I don't need that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that. We're going with good old Margaret Weis's version because she's awesome. But anyway, so and we'll move in and we'll start making characters here in a moment. But first, we need to have the encounter. You all wake up. You are.
I'm still 9.
Yes, you know, very little. You don't know how much time has passed, but probably very little. You all
Okay.
wake up. You're inside maybe a warehouse. You're not 100% sure, especially 9-year-old. You would be not have a lot of understanding. But you're in a large space. There are a lot of robed people around you. For the older people here, they are dressed like Satanists, just so you know, or cultists of some kind. And you guys are tied down to some weird log. You're each on your own little log, and you've been tied very uncomfortably, hands and feet under the log, and the log is sitting on something, and you can't see what's holding it up. But it's a very uncomfortable situation. You guys are all butt naked, and from you're not blindfolded or nor are you gagged, and you can kind of look down at your chest, your torso, and you can see that there's a bunch of runic writing on your body, all over your body, and it maybe blood it's written in, maybe.
Is
And
it?
Right.
people are chanting, and some groups come over. They hold your head. They're very rough with you, by the way. There's no genteelness going on here at all. Several of them hold your heads and force your jaws open and pour some nasty, noxious black liquid down your throats. You guys are bitching, cussing, screaming, whatever the situation is. But they get it down your throat, and some really old dude, right? And you recognize him, lady, because he's the guy that grabbed you. The other two haven't seen him yet, but there is a really old dude who is coming over to you, and he has this long dagger, and he comes into your chest, and he's carving something into it.
Oh.
Yes, it's not good.
Okay. Can I do something then? It's a
No, you
verbal
can
thing.
do nothing. You can do nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. You're just along
Uh,
for the ride. Uh, and the chanting picks up. Some of the cultists start dancing around, like as if they're wild men, screaming and yelling and convorting themselves into weird positions. And then all of a sudden, 'cause like I said, you're not blindfolded. You notice that these dancers start moving and convorting in very unnatural ways that the body should not be able to move. And you see this very old, scary man. He's has chanting. He's picked up a different knife, and he's moved over to Tower. Let's see, Tower's the absolved, right? Yeah, okay. Over to
mm.
Tower, and there's a fourth person here, by the way, who you don't know. You don't know each other anyway. And it looks like he's about to plunge the dagger into Tower's chest. What do you guys do?
You don't scare me, you cultist man.
Okay, GOP.
You know how?
I
Okay. Go
spit
ahead.
on, by the way.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna do that too. You bloody bastard! You let him go. You let us all go.
9-year-old girl.
Well, I was hoping he was gonna be right there at her when she does one of these supersonic high screams right in his face, hopefully popping his eardrums, but
Wait.
that didn't happen. So,
Well,
G-
but
he
you
did
hear
it.
a high
GOP,
scream.
GOP, are you from London?
Yes.
he's
Yes.
from
I
England.
I
He's
tell you what,
posh.
cultist. I tell you what, cultist man. Spare me and the little girl, and take the Brit.
Okay. So ladies screaming and the men are, protesting. And this very old, scary looking man raises up this, looks more like a Bowie knife this time, and plunges it into Tower's chest. The pain is searing Tower.
Hello, Timothy.
God
Um,
fucking
Join our
damn.
chat.
Blood, you guys can see blood is spurting. The pain is almost blinding you. And you're kind of in and out of consciousness. You feel yourself instantly getting cold and weary. And at that moment, you hear an explosion off in the distance. And flooding into this room are, well, look like a tactical team, right? A SWAT team type of thing. And gunshots are flying out, cultists are screaming as they get hit in their weird contortions. Some of them are pulling Uzis out from underneath their robes and firing back. It is pure chaos in this room as bullets are ringing all around and blood is falling all over the place. And it is bedlam. It is bedlam. Yes. And I'll go ahead and get this playing again here because
Timothy, that is actually our dice screen where we roll, and you can see the results of the dice that we roll.
yeah, I put
That's
it on
what
my
you
little
actually
smoke
see.
thing here again. We'll leave that up for a second because we haven't got into the game proper yet. Anyway,
Yeah,
all
this is
this
our
chaos is
first
going along.
screen.
The old man, you see, GOP because Tower is kind of dying, right? Literally, he just got a Bowie knife plunged through his heart. Literally, he's dying, right? GOP, you see that the old man takes a bullet to the shoulder. You see it, but it doesn't seem to bother him very much. And he walks over to you and he says some kind of weird chant. He has this just evil fucking grin on his face, and he plunges the dagger into your heart. Excuse me, the Bowie knife into your heart as well.
I'm starting coughing up blood. I make sure to spit some on him too.
That's fine.
He's just
He looks at you as if you're insects, literally. Um, the chaos is going on. You two guys are literally dying. He walks over, takes another bullet, by the way. And that other person here, who you guys don't know, he plunges it into his heart, and he's going over to the last one, the girl. And the little girl who's screaming manically, I would assume. She's never experienced anything
You
like this in
assume
her life.
correctly.
He cut
Yes.
into her at the beginning too, so
Yeah.
she's
It's horrific, yeah. And he's heading over to her and to do the same thing. And all of you have a moment of clarity, even though you two who are literally dying. It's as if the room and time stops. Everything seems to almost freeze, to slow down. And you see a man seemingly just appear in front of the old man. And this man is a giant. He's got to be at least 7 feet, right? Maybe more. He's a big old dude. He's thick and wide. He is an African man, and I mean African, not Native American. I mean not Black African American. He's an African man. He looks different, right? And he comes up and grabs the arm of the guy who's about to kill the little girl or to plunge the dagger in her heart. And they begin a scuffle. And during this scuffle, the old man understands very clearly he is outmatched, and he kind of shuffles back, almost knocks GOP off his log over by kind of bouncing into him, and he says something in some foreign language you don't know, but you're sure it was a curse, right? And then you see it mostly GOP because, like I said, you are literally, this is happening within seconds. You are dying, but his hand is actually on your shoulder as this happens. It becomes super cold. I mean, painfully cold, his touch. And he just disappears. The African man says, "Goddamn Ambergast. Get some medics in here." And only the girl can really hear what's going on because you two guys pass out. But however, lady, you see the whole thing happen. This team comes in. They immediately start trying to work on the three men who have been injured. You know, was just literally stabbed in the heart. You see people doing weird things, lady. It's almost as if one lady who comes in, her hands are glowing, and their wounds seem to be healing. It's like magic or something, right? And eventually they untie you, lady, and and the other three guys are put into stretchers and taken out. There by now there's like 100 people in here. The cultists have either been killed or captured, and you are being taken along with them, put into a van. It doesn't have any markings on it, but it does look like a SWAT van. But there are several people in here with the injured men, and there's a lady who has put a blanket around you, lady, and she's being very soothing, and she seems quite nice. And you guys drive off, and the only memory any of you have of this, other than the chaos of it, is the old man. His face is etched in your memory, and the African man named him Ambergast. This is him.
I don't.
Oh, he got a fucked up face.
He is messed up,
Very
but
much.
but you'll never forget it. Now, this series that I'm going to be running, and we're going to be getting into making our characters right now, is called UMBRAL. And this is a grim, dark, modern fantasy setting that we're going to be doing. It is in the modern world, though there's nothing different about the world. It's not an alternate history, none of that. It's the real world. It's just that most people don't know of what really goes on, right? So this is not some kind of alternate universe, which is very common for campaigns. It's not. It's the real world, and it's right now, so we all can interact in it quite easily. We know how to live our lives, right? Now, to kind of give you an understanding of the setting before we start making our characters, I'll lay it out very simply. Um, in this campaign setting, in this cosmology, everything is human based. There are no aliens, and even if there were aliens, they would probably look just like us, right? There are no, elves or dwarves or some kind of creatures or nothing. Everything in our world is a human endeavor. Everything. But it's just we don't know exactly how it works. And this is how the system works. The cosmology is very, very simple. Everything, of course, is based in frequency, but I don't need to get into that, do I? But up above us, in another realm, beyond the grand veil, which only very few transcend to, there is the source, potentially the Godhead. And that source rains down into the universe. And it shows itself quite visibly in suns, but it also rains down through the Ador or heaven, if you prefer that word, and rains down through umbral veins in the umbra into living planets, which Earth is, right? And therefore life happens because the source is not only warmth and positive energy, it is also life energy. And therefore the whole world is bathed in it. And any living world in the universe would be the same. The Ador or heaven is the first to encounter it, and therefore it is very strong. And also, magic is very prevalent there for those who ascend. But we're not going to get into that much because there's very little interaction with that. We're not dealing with the Ador. We're dealing with the Umbra. Sorry. But that's the mechanics. And below and all around, and connecting everything in space and all planets is the Umbra. Now, the Umbra is negative energy. It can be seen visually in the moon. The moon casts its own energy. It's not reflective energy, it has its own energy. And it is umbral energy. Umbral is negative, the source is positive. Very, very simple. And the mechanics of the cosmology work like this. And this is how your characters are going to be interacting with it. When someone dies, they've either done enough for their consciousness, their soul, whatever you want to call it, their frequency, to be strong enough to ascend into the Ador, right? Those who don't, which are a lot, end up falling into the umbra, which surrounds us all. And you have the near umbra. The deep umbra is really kind of space, but it's frequency dimensionally different. But it's all around us. And of course, between us and the umbra is the veil, the mortal veil. Okay. And when you die, if you fall into the umbra, various things happen. People who are very weak consciousness, weak souled people, they are kind of trapped in this kind of reformed body, and this body's just running around trying to eat stuff, and you have no control, and eventually you probably get eaten. For those who are strong enough to gain enough power and therefore get control and consciousness back, living in the umbra is not the greatest thing. Because there's very little sensation, there's very little color, there's very little emotion. And therefore, umbral creatures, and especially the conscious ones that are once again human, they're often lingering near the mortal veil, desperately wanting to get back, just to feel something, just to experience anything, even pain, to have a sensation. Everything is so muted and dulled in the umbra that it's maddening. And some of them will join organizations in the umbra. Others accidentally will come across it. And the thing is a weak-willed or human or even a creature can be possessed. When something is possessed, it is called a demon, right? Still a human, taking over the consciousness of another human, getting back into the body. And this is often why you hear about people who were, oh, he was a nice guy, but going on wild, crazy binges and stuff like that. Because they just desperately want to experience things. And for the most part, they burn through the body very quickly. It's not permanent. Sometimes it is. And other groups and factions within the umbral societies have created over the millennia ways to make things more permanent or more effective. So therefore, monsters and demons and things like that are real, albeit rare. They're just not actually a separate thing. It's a human thing. It's a possessive thing. Now, what has just happened to you, and you guys, over the next decade, we'll get into it during character creation, you learn all of this stuff. Okay. And what just happened to you was a magical ceremony meant to raise up quite a powerful umbral spirit, Apollyon in particular. And Abergast has been trying to do that for quite a long time, and he got very close this time. Matter of fact, if he is able to sacrifice the girl, it would have raised up Apollyon himself. Nevertheless, because of this happening to you, and the fact that you guys had, unbeknownst to you, except for GOP, you all do have a little bit of umbral touch or taint, depending on who you talk to, in your characters' bodies. And this is why what has happened to you has happened. And because three of you died and the little girl took the potion, you guys are what are called either the gifted in modern time, but in ancient time they'd be called the they would be called the Nephilim, whereas demons would have been called the Raphaim, right? The dead, right? So you guys, in essence, are almost half dead or half living, whichever you prefer. And this has created an umbral tether for you, and therefore has made you much more capable than a normal human. So let's get into making characters. And before we do, any questions? I tried to keep that as succinct as possible, but it's straightforward, right?
Okay. Do we have any kind of character creation sheets
No,
that hopefully?
no,
Nope.
no,
Okay.
no.
Old
That's
fashioned.
that's a negative with this game, actually, but that's all right.
Okay.
Just old school it.
Next page. Okay.
Any question, guys?
Nope.
Yeah, I try to.
So,
It's
so
pretty straightforward, right?
two of us. Okay. So I had the potions. They got killed.
Well,
So
you're all half dead, right?
we're all
But yet
dead. Okay.
alive. And we'll get into what happened. You guys have been literally in training for the past 10 years. You've been training. This organization that came in and helped you. Let's see here. I do have. I'll just show the headquarters, I guess. Probably easier. And you, oddly, you guys chose it, but you are in the Boston office. You've been training though. Some of your training has happened in the Umbra, by the way, because in the Umbra, powerful, sorcerers can create little pocket dimension type of places. They're quite small, but you guys have actually trained in the Umbra during this past 10 years, and you are in this office. You're in the Boston office. I don't know. You guys chose it randomly, but I have set it up as being in Boston. And you're with your boss here is Antoine Burquest in this particular office. They are, because we are in America, they are set up within the American government. Although this is in these chapter houses have been around for a really long time. But this one is technically connected. You're with the Department of Umbral Verification and Enforcement, or DOVE. Yay. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, GOP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
But
still pronounced Dove with a U?
no, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know. It's abbreviated.
I understand all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course you're right. But whatever. I just thought it was kind of cute. I was trying to come up with a name. But now Dove is simply the American government attachment of a much more ancient thing. But you guys are part of the Black Book stuff. So when we get into play, you guys all carry DOJ badges. So go ahead and write that down. You all have a Department of Justice badge and ranking. Legitimately, you have it because that's what the American government does. Whatever agency you work with, it's always the DOJ. So anytime you see a DOJ agent, be suspect.
We are with the DOJ.
Yes, well, you are, yes, because in America, these black groups, these black book groups we have, our departments, they're all attached to the DOJ. That's how the government does it. So you guys have badges and everything. You're actual special agents with the DOJ. Although you do answer to a different department, however. But anyway, so we are in Boston. Like I said, you spent 10 years training and getting yourselves to where you are. And before we start playing, and today we're just going to do an introduction type of thing because we're creating our characters. But we need to start doing that. Okay, so to make our characters, it's actually very, very simple. We already have some information. You've got a little bit of background we've already kind of fleshed out. You have your name. It is 10 years later, so you guys are older. You are 19, lady, and the other, we have a 32-year-old with GOP, and we have a 45-year-old with the Absolved Tower. However, because you are now umbrally touched, or the gifted as they use in these days, your lifespan is easily doubled, though. Possibly more, especially depending on how you deal with magic, which we're going to get into now. So age is kind of irrelevant, but Tower is the oldest here, which is ironic.
Mhm.
Since he's
And
the
Lady's the
youngest.
youngest.
Yeah. So the first
Which
thing
is
we need,
ironic.
which is ironic, yeah. But the first thing we need to do is start creating our prime sets. Okay. So in this game, we have 3 prime sets, right? We have. So let me bring up the this page right here, and I'll leave it there for now whilst we do that. The 3 prime sets we're using in this are distinctions, abilities, and skills. Pretty standard. There are lots of other things you can add, and there are a few things I am going to add. But in general, those are pretty standard for any Cortex game if anyone's interested in looking into playing those. So here we go. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start out with our abilities. So on your sheet, on your paper, I want you to write down mental, physical, and social. These are your attributes. Okay? Write them down.
Mental, physical, and
Social.
social.
Yeah. Now I could have broke those down into 6 or 12 or 100 if I wanted. You can do whatever you want in this game, but it's easy enough. Mental, physical, social. It covers it. Now, what you want to do is you get 3 D8s to apply. Now, you could just simply put a D8 in each one and be done with it. But you can also step up by stepping down other things. For instance, you could take one of those D8s, step it down to a D6, and step one of the D8s up to a D10. So you could have a 6, an 8, and a 10 to apply. Okay. You can't go any further than that in creation unless you have some really good idea, but we've already kind of know what the characters look like. So there are no D4s or running around here. So that's fine. So you can choose either. You can have 3D8s. You could have a 6, 10, and an 8 to apply, or you could have an 8, 6, and a 10. Well, it's the same, isn't it? Yeah. Your choice. So 3 8s, one in each, or a 6, an 8, and a 10 to be put wherever you want. Go ahead and make those decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what did you do, GOP? What did you choose?
My mental is a D8, my physical's a D10, and my social's a D6.
Perfect. Tower.
Mental's a D8, physical's a D6, social's a D10.
Sweet. Interesting. Lady.
D8 across the board.
Yep. 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 That's fine too. Okay. So this is our first prime set. So any kind of challenge that comes up, you with this set, there's certainly you'll be able to choose one of those 3 to apply to your dice pool, right? Sometimes with distinctions, it's not always that straightforward. And that's why distinctions is, which we'll do next, is the most important thing. You need to be very clever here. Okay. So moving on to next, we're doing distinctions. Now, you get 3 of them. Okay. And these distinctions are expressions of who you are, what you do, what you feel, how you interact with the world. There are 3 of them. And after you make them, you're also going to have, each of them is going to have 2 skills that are directly connected to it. It needs to make sense, though. And I'll get to skills in a minute. These distinctions should be, grizzled old warrior or, fiery, activist or whatever. You need to create 3 distinctions that define who your character are. These are very important, actually. The distinctions come into play a lot. But those 3 need to be varied enough that one of them can apply to any given situation. You understand? Because this is your second prime set. So every time you roll the dice, you want to be able to pull a die out of here, out of one of them, right? The next one, skills. Skills are simple, right? You can always apply a skill. That's easy. It's just whether you have the skill or not. This one's the tricky one. You need to create 3 distinctions, but you need to make sure that they're encompassing enough that they can be applied in any situation. Between, you have three of them, and it's going to be the same type of application. By the way, after you create these three distinctions, you can either put an 8 in each one, or you could put a 6, an 8, and a 10, just like you just did. Same thing, right? So, but you need to create those distinctions, and this is probably the most difficult part of the game.
I don't know
More
what's good.
more distinctions, please. Like
You kind of you're making
quiet
your
and
own.
fast, as quick as Cobra.
Yeah,
Uh,
but keep in mind we're playing in a modern world, so something that applies
yeah.
to life today. In there, you do have one requirement. One of the
Oh,
three needs to have the word magic or occult or something magical related, or umbra in related in the description. Now, after you create the distinction, lady, which you guys can do, after the show on your own time, but each distinction actually is also like a sentence or a paragraph that fleshes it out more. Okay. But some of the options you could take, lady, would be because your situation is a little different than them. You never saw your parents again. You have been with the chapter house or Dove for the past 10 years. And although you probably were pissed in the beginning, now that you're older and going through all the training, you get why they did what they did, because your family would probably be dead by now if they didn't. So you understand now. But your situation is very, very interesting. These guys have to take into account that they had lives before. We already know GOP was a military guy, so that helps him out. Tower did something bad, but he was an old dude before this happened to him. So he's got have to think about that. You are a clean slate. You're a tabula rasa. So you've literally been raised by the department, right?
okay. All right.
Okay. I think I know what I want on this
Okay,
one.
I don't
hit
Um,
me.
to put.
what's up?
Hit him.
Yeah, tell me.
Oh no, Tower said something. All right, so here's my three distinctions that I went with. Likes to fight up close, so my guy was more of like close quarters kind of thing. That was his
Sure,
specialty.
sure.
Clearing out buildings and stuff. Magical lineage is something my character, he his family history, like
No, no, no.
he's a direct descendant of the Maccabees from uh the Judean Maccabees.
Oh, okay,
Uh
that's perfect.
yeah, and then shakes things off. So I figured that'd be more of a resistance kind of trait. Like maybe it's easier for me to recover, or like I have greater resistance if it's like something's gonna take me out kind of thing. That would be
Sure.
in general though. My personality wise, like I can from a social aspect too. I can let things go and just focus on the moment.
Well, what was the
It's like
first one
from
again?
comic.
What was the first one again, please?
Likes to fight up close.
So why don't we say tough, close combat warrior?
Okay, that'll work too.
Yeah, kind of meld them together. The second one, magical lineage. That's great. But the third one needs to be a little bit more varied, because sometimes you gotta make social roles. You have to do other things, and if your distinctions are not fleshed out well enough, you might end up just rolling two dice a lot instead of three, and that's not good. Now we are going to get other things that can give you dice as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm just saying, flesh that third one out a little bit better. Tower, how you doing?
Uh, I was thinking sly, weathered, and I'm just trying to think of a third one.
Well, yeah, you need
With
more.
that's
It needs to be
magical. Like,
deeper. That you need to have an expression
oh
or a
yeah,
phrase that it covers a couple of things. Like you could say, sly, weathered, barfly.
Yeah.
Now, well, think about it. So it shows that you have the ability to do stealthy things. It
Yep.
also emphasizes your cleverness twice, right? Weathered shows you're older and experienced and wise. Barfly is certainly would be able to add to any social role, right?
Yeah.
This is hard.
I told you this is the hardest part of the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like that. Yeah,
I was
sly,
thinking about
weathered Barfly.
something. If I have to make a social role, I gotta have something that will help with the
Yep.
social roles.
Well, we just
I was
kind of
thinking,
took care of his social and stealthy stuff, and that's only
yeah,
one. That's just one distinction. Tower's still got two more to make. That's just one, right?
But
Don't
not
be
easily fooled.
not easily fooled, sure, but maybe we should add one more
Yeah.
adjective on that, right?
Yeah. Let me look. Uh, keen-minded something.
Sure. Keen-minded socialite, keen-minded nerd, or something like that. Take a couple of adjectives and attach it to a noun, right?
Yeah.
How you doing,
Um,
lady? Any ideas?
best hacker there is in the universe. How's that?
Well, okay, so you want her to be computer savvy. Sweet. All right.
Well, you
Uh,
said modern, so
yeah,
like,
no.
okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's quite useful. But let's take the word hacker, and that's our noun, and let's add a couple of adjectives to it. So, what kind of attitude does she have? Is she disciplined and ordered? Is she wild and rebellious? Is she, grim and gloomy? I mean, what is her personality traits that go with hacker?
Grim and gloomy. I like that.
You
Grim
like
and
that? Okay,
gloomy.
this is a grim, dark fantasy we're playing here. Grim and gloomy hacker. So let's take one of those, grim. Let's keep that. Let's not keep gloomy. Let's use a more expansive adjective. So something to go with a hacker. So let's see. How about this? Grim,
Lock.
umbral hacker. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
because
How about
that puts the Umbra in there, and we need that somewhere. So that's perfect. Go ahead, GOP.
okay? I put my last one as keen-minded sleuth.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. That shows cleverness to be able to use in any kind of knowledge-based thing, and the sleuth applies to searches and spots and things like that. Yeah, because keep in mind, you have to justify with with the distinction to be able to put the dice in the pool. Well, I'm this thing, therefore I think it applies to this situation, because that's how it goes. This game is a game of situations. And if you have to roll your dice, because we're going to get skills in a minute, which are easy, that's very straightforward, right? But the distinctions are another dice that are available to add to your pool. And you guys are going to have pools ranging from, depending on the situation, as low as two and as high as 5 or 6. Maybe not now, but eventually they will be higher pools. But for, you definitely, this is the hard part of the game. Yeah. I like it though, GOP. Tower, how you doing?
I'm trying to think of words, and I'm drawing blanks.
Well,
Oh no.
think about what you want your character to be, right? We have a little bit of your history. You're a little bit older. You like Barfly. I think that first one. What did we go with? What was that?
Sly
Sly,
weathered
weathered,
marshmallow.
bar. I love it. That is perfect. That's a perfect one. So that's definitely chosen. This tells us a lot about your character and the fact that you were in a bar in the beginning, and although she was we don't know if she was could have been a prostitute or not. We know what she turned out to be. You fell into that quite happily, right?
Yeah.
It tells us something about your character. Now, maybe the next one should express what your life experience is. What did you do before? Of course, you have also the third one might just encompass what you've been doing for the past decade. You've been training pretty hard, you guys, for the past 10 years. And I'll as we start playing the game, I'll kind of flesh out who you work for and why you do that and all that kind of stuff. But you do have your kind of 10 years experience, but you also have that previous 35 years of experience. What did you do? What was your job? Right? What skills did you pick up?
Yeah.
Answer those questions first, and then the descriptions will be easier to do. How you doing,
Okay.
lady?
Okay, I have a social technically, as in military tactics.
Tactically, yeah.
Beauty. Yeah,
So
beauty.
socially tactful.
Yeah. In other words, very aware of her surroundings and what's going on around her, perceptibly
Okay,
wise.
all right, that's fine. You're grim. You are grim dark, but you're not stupid. Okay, so fine. So um, what was it again? Socially tactful. Socially tactful. What? What's your noun?
I put beauty on there, but
Beauty.
but
Okay, that's fine. That definitely helps with social roles, right? So
yeah, that's what I
socially
figured.
tactful beauty. Very
Mhm.
so that is very much social skills based. Go ahead, write it down.
Okay. Already got it written down.
And you're a lucky one. You didn't get a dagger in the chest.
I know.
Oh, you did get a little
I still have
carving.
the scars.
There is a rune from the scar. Yes, all of you have the
Oh,
same one. Well, no, you don't. You all the rune you have is Sumerian. It's cuneiforme, and they all say what you are. So, lady, you have the cuneiform for the word lamb, right?
okay.
You have the one GOP for incarnate, right? Which means because you come from a magical lineage. That's why I chose incarnate. And you have absolved, meaning forgiven, tower. Yeah.
Wait. What's it? Absolved mean?
Absolved means
Forgiven.
forgiven. Yeah, because you were a criminal,
Oh,
but the bad guys forgave you. Aw.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sweet.
Or the good guys forgave you.
No. In this situation, it was just they needed 4 elements for the ceremony, right?
Mhm.
And the
Okay.
other guy, who you guys have either fallen out of
Mhm.
contact or not, will depend on if someone else jumps in. Survived too, and
Hint,
is
hint,
what was that?
Hint. He's
hint,
hint.
hint.
Yeah, well, we do have
People in the
we have
audience.
more than that, but we do have the martyr open, which or you can just come in and make anything. It doesn't matter. We can come up with a backstory why you work for the department, easy enough. But we do have the martyr available, and that's just
Side.
kind of the nice guy. So all right, lady, you got 2. Tower GOP's done. Tower, how you doing?
I want to use adventurous.
Okay.
Adventurous engineer, and I'm trying to think of something else
So
to add for my
what
character.
was the first one? The first one was sly weathered
Weathered barfly.
barfly. I love that. What was your second one?
My second one, I was thinking
Oh,
beginning with adventurous
how
and
about adventurous umbral explorer?
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's useful. Because remember, you're taking these distinctions, and they're going to have their own dice applied to them, right? And you're using them to say, okay, well, in this situation, whatever it is we're doing, in this situation, I think this distinction applies. And unless it's questionable, I'm going to be cool, right? And then you got to take that die and add it to your pool. So whatever the situation is, you want these 3 distinctions to be able to apply to everything would be optimal, one way or the other, right? So the first one definitely covers stealthy things, sneaking things, spots, searches, maybe, charisma, social based roles, sure. This next one covers like climbing, athletics, magic, all kind of things, swashbuckling, swinging from chandeliers.
Yeah.
So you just got one more. Maybe you want to make that one a little bit more knowledge leaning. Lady, how you doing?
I thought for like having like the perfect memory, but because this would be more for the mental stats,
So
right?
eidetic,
I don't even know what that word is.
photographic memory.
Eidetic.
Eidetic, yeah, with an E.
Okay, let's see what would go with that.
Aren't you lucky you have an English teacher right in front of you?
Yes. Now you know how dumb I really am.
Everyone takes that. Everyone takes that particular distinction. So Chester has to tell us everything. It's like, well, our character knows.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, but that's role playing in general, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
know. I'm just.
Yeah. So eidetic, something
Eidetic.
noun.
Clever technical advisor? Maybe.
Now we kind of recovered that in the first one. But let's see here. We this one really should kind of cover a little bit more of your combat potential, right?
Oh, for me.
Right. Eidetic. Profession sniper?
Sure. If you want to go that route, you could. I don't know how
Or
eidetic would apply
sniper.
to that, but
Yeah. Well, no, eidetic could do for other things too. So, we're all what kind of
you could.
training did we receive?
Well, you've received all kinds of training. You could go with
Military
how
training.
about
Ooh.
eidetic military ranger
All right.
or wilderness ranger would be better.
Yeah.
Eidetic. What you have an idea to GOP?
I
don't know if we need eidetic. I don't think that applies.
I mean, I would have said eidetic, like martial artist or something, but that's like she is so skilled with the martial arts because she has a perfect memory of her training. I guess because
No,
remember
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
we've been training the whole time,
a decade.
but
Yeah.
it would be, but I mean, special agent too would work. I mean, you're still getting military training, but yeah.
Well, you guys
know.
have kind of graduated, and you're finally going into the field. Is what's happening.
Okay.
All right, that sounds good, lady. So I think you have 3 ready. Tower, you have one more, I guess, right?
Yeah. Which I want to use agile, and I was thinking ironback for military.
Okay, so we have sly. We have sly weathered barfly. Second one is
Adventurous umbral explorer.
sweet,
So this one would want to be more towards combat.
more physical. Yeah. Although the Umbral Explorer
Weathered.
one has some of that in it.
Yeah. And weathered could.
Yeah, you already used that though.
Well, yeah. I want to use agile for sure.
Okay.
Would
How
be
about
agile.
agile monkey humper?
Fleet-footed.
Or just fleet? I would just use fleet.
Yeah.
Fleet's good. It's better, Tower, because fleet implies not only speed but agility as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So fleet, and then I need to think of something militarist.
Or you can. You guys definitely have got military training. Of course, GOP already kind of had that, but he's gotten more. So I don't know. Fleet. So fleet. Fleet grizzled scout.
Oh,
Or
wait.
something like that.
There's a fleet scout.
Fleet brawler with a crack shot.
No.
Doesn't quite work.
I
Okay,
don't like
it
that.
doesn't quite.
Yeah.
Fleet, crack shot brawler. I don't know.
No, they don't go together.
Yeah, they don't.
Fleetwood Mac. No.
Yeah, there you go. Plus 2 steps to everything.
Damn. I don't know. I'm
Okay,
just
but this
drawing.
distinction also gets 3D8 as well, right?
Pete,
Yeah,
Or
well,
Q
no,
no, we're
does.
going to get to that. They each, so you've chosen your distinctions. You can put either an 8 in each, a D8 in each of them, or you can do the 6, 8, and 10. Your choice. Yeah,
it's just like the prime set.
it's just like the attributes. Yeah, this
I don't
is
know
a prime
anything that
set.
goes with fleet.
I just told you, like Fleet Grizzled Scout or Fleet
Grizzled brawler. I'm telling you, brawler
Stubborn
works.
Commander or
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like that. Fleet Stubborn Commander.
So are we all done? Everybody done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So go ahead and choose your numbers. Like I said, you get they automatically start with an 8 in each, but you can shift it just like you did with your attributes. Like, you can use a 10, an
Oh,
8, and a 6. So go ahead and make those
as we're
decisions now.
developing our character right now,
Mhm.
at the primary stage of development of the character, if we can see that it would make more sense if one of these dice changed before we actually
Don't
start playing.
trust me. I got it. Don't ask
Okay.
any questions. I'll tell you. Don't worry about it.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
my
you're
only
creating the
question.
character.
So essentially, if I, let's just say, did 10, 6, and 8 again, if I put 10 into Sly Weathered Barfly and a 6, it'd mean I'd be better at my social than at my
Right, because
attack. Okay.
whatever that situation, that distinction applies to, that dice is going into the dice pool. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and because we're not done with the distinctions, but in order to do that, we need to understand the skills, which is our third prime set. So go ahead and write these down. You're going to write all the skills on the page, even though you might not have all of them. You'll always have a D4 in them. Okay. So you ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Craft, drive,
Drive, like
Yep.
DRIVE.
Yep.
DRIVE. Yes, drive. Fight, fix.
What?
Fix,
Fix.
Fix, fix. Fly, as in pilot.
Oh,
Oh,
why? Okay.
Focus,
Not as in cool.
no,
Focus?
focus.
focus,
Like Ford Focus.
as in to
Like,
concentrate.
as in to focus on the game we're playing right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. No, I just hit the wrong button. Sorry.
I'm
Hold on a
going to get
second.
a +10 in my oh shit skill.
Yes, that's the proper choice. Here we go. Okay, cool. Here we go. Here we go. All right, hold on a second. Let me get back up. I apologize. No, it's down. Sorry. Damn it. Sorry, I hit a button. I have to go back now.
It's okay. The last one we were almost focused.
Yes.
Page 57.
Is that where I was?
The PDF I see, I'm at the first thing what tells you where all the pages are at. It says skills is number 57.
No, I'm not there.
Oh,
I'm not there.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm somewhere
Okay.
else.
I
But
figured it had.
that's all right. I'm getting to it. Just give me a second. Actually, I should just use the bookmark, huh? Where is it? Here it is.
Influence.
No, I got it here. I got it here. I got it. Okay.
I'm doing it.
All right, where was I? Oh yes. So what was I on? Focus, right?
Yep.
Next is influence, which is social, right? Next is know.
Like KNOW.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then we have labor, which covers things like athletics, carrying, physical things.
Giving labor. Copy.
Yep. Next we have move, which is literally movement. Then we have notice, as in to see, to recognize, to spot. Then we have, you guys get this skill. It's not in the book, but once again, you get occult.
Like cult, like CULT.
Well, it would normally be under know, but I'm separating it out into its own skill because it's so vital. So,
But that is CULT, right?
OCCULT.
OCCULT. I'm sorry. Yeah. Occult.
OCCULT.
Yep.
Okay.
Then we have operate. Now, in this case, operate means to use modern equipment, cell phones, computers, tractors, whatever.
GOP, we know how to operate tractors.
You do, yes.
Tractor trailers.
Next, we have perform. Then we have shoot, which anything from a gun to a bow.
What about a slingshot?
Sure.
I'm assuming that would work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, these
A
are very
crossbow.
broad for intentionally, right?
Would
Next,
you shoot a throwing spear? Would that count?
no, we have something for that. Next, you have sneak, hide, stealthful movement, quiet movement, things like that. After that, we have survive, which is wilderness based, and you've all had training in that, potentially. You could have sucked at it. After survive, we have throw, knives, spears, rocks, tables, whatever.
Other people?
Potentially.
Other, maybe, it depending on how we develop the character. Next, we have treat. And last, we have trick. That is a good question. So let me go ahead and bring that up and go look at the skills section.
We are very good. We're great at Halloween. We always
trick or treat.
Receiving or cunning somebody, sleight of hand, using spin.
That's trick. What about treat?
Oh, treat. Taking care of people, heal, treatment of injury, but also
first aid.
Counseling.
Okay,
Well,
so yeah.
Okay, so it's like treatment treat. It just threw us off because trick or treat. Okay,
right. But these things, and they probably put that intentionally, but these things are meant to be very broad for a reason. Okay, so these are your skills. And lady, read under the no, because you're in the skills section. Read under no. I think you get some bonus stuff from that. I think no gives you something bonus. Can you read that, please?
Okay,
no.
Just give me a second. General knowledge and recall. Use specialties to cover specific areas: business, navigation, religion, animals, fine arts, etc. No always includes the free specialty of the player's choice.
One free. Okay.
It doesn't say one.
It says free. Read it again.
Free.
Yeah, free. Yeah, so one. Okay, I thought so. All right, so this is what you're going to do. you like she just said, you're going to get a free knowledge highlight. Now, highlighted skills are kind of part of the creation process, but there are things that apply. So we'll do with that free highlighted knowledge skill momentarily. For right now, you want to choose two of these skills to be applied to each distinction as a highlighted skill. Okay? For each distinction, two of those skills should be applied. So that would be 6 skills are being applied right now, 2 to each distinction.
Oh, so I just get to choose 6?
Well, they have to make sense to the distinction, right? Like your first one, sly,
Weather,
weathered
barfly.
barfly, you could put a social skill in there. You could put a stealthy skill in there. You could put a like the labor skill in there. Would make sense. They have to make sense to the distinction, but yes, choose 2 skills to apply to be highlighted by each distinction.
Because of the UMBRAL, we have to have an occult.
Yeah,
Correct.
and you could choose that. It depends on, you guys need a cult. I'm not going to force you to take it, but you should really have some points in a cult. You should. Yeah. It would be weird that you wouldn't. Yeah. I hate to force the hand, but in that case, you kind of do need to spend points. And seeing as each of you took something umbral or magical related in a distinction, you might want to take as a highlighted, because a highlighted steps up the dice 1 for free, right?
Okay, so who wants to be the getaway driver?
I mean, I could do it.
And keep in
Okay, and
mind,
then I'll take the fly.
keep in mind these 6 skills that are being applied and highlighted, they're all starting at a D6. A dice, a d6 die. But we're also going to get an additional 9 points to step up skills. So 1 point steps up 1 die, right? So a d6 becomes a d8, a d8 becomes a d10, etc., etc. And you can apply those 9 anywhere you want. You could apply them to skills you haven't applied something to, or you could apply them to the highlighted. You can raise them up even higher if you want. You get those 9 points to spend. And keep in mind that unless it is something that requires training, you can attempt any skill on that list with a default D4 dice to be added to a dice pool.
What is focus again? It's
Concentration on something to study, steal your will or whatever.
Willpower, stuff like that.
Willpower.
Yeah.
So tell me if this would work. So for like sly, weather, barfly, I have move and sneak because sly, weather, barfly.
I would take sneak. I would choose something social.
Well, for my other one, like I chose influence, but I chose that for commander because you'd assume
So
commander.
that would be influence, but maybe under barfly you choose something else. Like for instance, let's see here.
Because I had chosen the 6
Like
of drive,
perform.
influence.
Because influence is trying to either intimidate or inspire, right? But perform would be used if you were trying to talk someone into doing something. Sweet talk them, and that's definitely a barfly. You know what I mean? Like sneak and perform might be better for the first one, and then put influence down with the commander.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe the one that has the commander in it, maybe put that move and influence in there, put perform and sneak in the first one, and then the middle one choose 2 others. because your character is definitely socially leaning, and that's fine. So you need perform somewhere. You need some pretty solid dice in it. How you doing, GOP?
All right, so the highlighted ones they get a step up, right? I'm just trying to follow this because I was
Yeah,
looking
they
through what
they
I wanted.
all skills start at a D4. Highlighted gives an automatic free step up to a D6, and then we're going to have 9 points to spend here in a moment. But let's just
Okay.
one thing at a time. So, what
All right.
highlighted skills have you chosen?
So for my first distinction, and you said we could put two on them, so I fight and shoot because tough CQB warrior. I mean, I
Right.
could
What
do
what is
like
the
a
distinction again? Read it off again.
tough CQB warrior is what I wrote down. So
CQB.
he's
What the hell is that?
that's close quarters battle or
sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, what are the two skills you chose?
So I chose fight and shoot with that because it makes
Perfect.
sense with that. Yeah,
Next.
magical lineage. I picked focus and occult
Yep.
because it makes sense.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
and keen-minded sleuth. I picked know and notice.
Sweet. Sounds good. Very nice. How you
All
doing,
right.
lady?
We messed it up, but that's all right. Let's see. The memory military wilderness survival training. I went with
Yeah.
hang on. Survive
Mm-hmm.
and shoot.
Sure. Okay. What about the other two?
Grim Umber hacker. We put operation and occult.
Sweet.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Next.
Okay. In the socially technical beauty, I put fix and fly. You got to fix your plane sometimes,
Fix and what?
Fly.
Fly.
You operate piloting an aircraft
Yeah, no, I
or
know
a
what it
space.
is, but really? All right.
No,
Oh, no, that's
change it.
cool. Having a pilot in the group is not going to hurt. Okay. So, Tower, are you done?
Yeah, so for Sly Weathered Barfly, I got Sneak and Perform.
Mm.
Adventurous Umbral Explorer, I have Occult and Drive.
Mm.
And then for Fleet Stubborn Commander, I have Move and Influence.
Move and influence. Very nice. Yeah, it sounds great, guys. All right, now what you need to do is you need to take 9 points and apply them to these skills overall, including the highlighted ones. So look at your list of skills. Right now, they all have a D4 except for those 6 highlighted, which are sitting at a D6. Each of those 9 points simply steps up a die. Right? So if you put 2 points into one of the highlighted ones, they'd be sitting in a D10. Right now, there are no restrictions on how you spend your dice, but beyond this, if you do decide to throw 3 points into one ability, therefore making it a Grandmaster level, a D12, you can only do that with one ability if you choose. You don't have to do that at all. But if you do raise one to a D12, it can only be one skill at that level. Everything else has to be 10 or less. So just keep that in mind. But just go ahead and spend those points. So you have 9 points to spend. Each point simply steps up one dice level, right? D6 to D8, D8 to D10, D10 to D12, etc. Okay.
All right.
And that you're looking at the entire skill list here, the entire skill list. And I know everyone watching, maybe this isn't very interesting, but what we're doing, but that's okay. We have had our session zero. We know why they're where they are. Next week, we're going to do our first mission with them, which I already have prepared and set up. So that's awesome. And like I said, I have this set in such a way that anybody can come and join us. Now, I have it all in my head, but of course, this is the first time doing it. But so far, everything seems to be going pretty smoothly, I think. What do you guys think?
It's going pretty
Depends
well in
on how
mine,
much
but
harder it gets.
It's not going to get too
that's
much harder. Yeah. Where I think we're dealing with some of the more difficult things. I think the most fiddly part of this game is actually the special effects, the SFX. But I understand what it is. We will. I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem.
Ooh, I think this will work great. Ooh, Chester.
I'm
Yep.
tempted to go for the.
I added a 3 to my perform and a 2 to my influence and a 2 to my 2 to shoot.
You're not adding 3 and 2. You're stepping dice up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm
give me.
throwing
Well,
points into my skill.
give me final dice size is what I need. Is what I mean.
Okay, so let's just say like fight, I stepped up 1. Influence, I stepped up 2.
Yeah. But
Perform, I stepped up 3. Shoot, I stepped
what's
up.
the dice size?
Yes. 4. So this would be like fight would be 6.
Okay.
Influence would be 8. Perform would be stepped up by 3. So that would make it one. That'd make it what, a 12?
Yep. I mean, because that was one of your highlighted, right? So that steps it up one for
Yeah.
free to a D6, and then D8, D10, D12.
Oh, actually, in that case, because my influence is already, so my influence would be a 10.
That's fine.
And then my shoot is not highlighted, so I did a 2, which means 4, 6. That makes that my shooting an 8,
An 8.
and my survive would be a 6.
Okay. And then everything else is a 4. So excellent. The reason I kind of insist on you saying dice size is because that's this game. You don't want to use +2 or 2. You don't want to do that. You always want to talk in dice sizes here, and just to get used to it, you know.
Yeah, I'll go through and probably rewrite this sheet in a more
Oh, that's fine.
way that
That's fine.
reflects that.
And we still have a little bit more to do, but I think we're sitting on good time here, so I think we're good. But also, now that you're done with all spending your 9 points, Tower, you get 1 free highlighted knowledge, right? That's just going to be a D6 because it's highlighted, so it's going to be D6. So pick some knowledge you know and put a D6 next to it.
What does focus do again?
No, this is not. We're not talking about focus. We're talking about knowledge. Choose a knowledge,
Oh,
something you know. Computers, gambling, you know, medical science, biology, astrology, whatever.
so what? Like, am I adding this to my distinctions?
You get this free. Every character, because you're modern characters, you get a free knowledge. This is not your distinction. It's in the skill. But you're going to look at I told you to write all those skills down, right? So next to
Yeah.
knowledge, you're going to choose something. You're going to write it right next to it, some knowledge that you have, and you're going to write D6 next to it.
Okay.
Okay. And all
Do
these
we have a
things.
hacker?
Yes, you do.
Fuck. Do we have a gambler? Probably
Nope.
not.
Probably not. So, knowledge gaming. Go for it.
Gambler, D6.
Well, I'd be a little more broad with it and say gaming. In this game, you want to be as broad as possible until you're supposed to be specific, which we're going to get to in a minute. GOP, how you doing?
Good. I think I got it.
Okay. And did you choose your free knowledge?
So I went with medic, just because I probably had some degree of medical training, first
Right.
aid, or basic medical training.
That would
So,
be
yeah.
under treat, right? Yeah. So did you also take knowledge medicine?
Yeah, that's what
Sweet.
knowledge meant.
Okay, as your free one. So that's sitting at a D6. All right. Or you could step that up too. You do have 9 points. You get that for free, and then the 9 points are applied. Lady, how you doing?
Okay, I got my 9 down, but I haven't picked my knowledge yet. I'm gonna
Okay.
run it by you first. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go
What
ahead.
I raised was fighting. I put 2 points, 2 dice on, so that brings it from a 4, 5, no, 4, 6 to 8.
Yep.
Correct?
D8. Yep.
Okay. Fix just has one die, which is be a D6. Fly is a D6. Next one that I changed was knowledge, which be D6. Move a D6. Notice D6. Occult a D starts as a D6, right?
hmm
Those first
Did you?
first 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. The first 6.
So you went
The one.
very kind of average across the board. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Now keep in
Well,
mind something
but
just to mention before we leave this section and move on to the other parts of character creation. I doubt anyone threw anything into craft, but in this game, the way it works when we get into later stuff here, it wouldn't hurt you to have a point or two in craft. It really wouldn't. It would be beneficial to you in this particular campaign setting.
Okay.
I got two additional dice in shoot, and operations I have 2 as well.
So that brings it up to a D8. Now keep in mind, the lady, the highlighted skills are basically a free step up, right?
It is one of the skills, one of the up steps is highlighted.
Okay, that's
The 6
fine. So
highlighted.
a highlight, highlight those highlighted skills get a free step up, and then you have 9 points of step up to apply, right?
Right.
So if we took a highlighted one, it's automatically D6, and then if we put 3 of our 9 points in that, that would bring it up to a D12, right?
Yes,
D6 goes to
and
a D8 to a
that'll
D10,
be
D12,
my 9
but you can only
point.
have one D12 right now. So
Yeah, I got 1 D12
okay,
on the computer thing. Operations. And for the knowledge thing, should I put? I was thinking about putting a computer there, but that's not right.
no, you can certainly have knowledge computers, sure. Computer science, sure, absolutely. Operate is how you using and interacting with them, but knowledge is certainly
Okay.
is applicable as well.
Fix is a highlighted skill, so I can fix things too. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Uh,
And like I said, if you guys have a point or two in craft, it would be beneficial. All
I'm
right.
sorry,
Put
mine's
one of
just
mine. I put one of mine in
9.
craft.
Okay. All right. So we're done with that.
Oh, I didn't tell you all mine, but
I
okay.
don't need to know. You
Okay.
understand the concept of stepping up, right?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got it
So
all
yeah, it's fine.
done.
So let's move on to step 3. And this is special effects. Now, this is a fiddly part, but we don't have to worry so much now because you're new characters. And as time goes by, it'll become easier to understand. The first thing you want to do with our special effects is next to each distinction or underneath of it, because these distinctions, the mental stuff, the mental, physical, and social is just a number, and you're done. We're done, right? Skills are skills, and we're going to
Right.
flesh them out a little bit more here in a second.
Right.
The distinctions are their own little section, and they have stuff that apply. Special effects are applied to distinctions and abilities in this game. Okay, everything else doesn't have special effects normally. So special effects are things that simply are like tricks. Like if you're playing a D&D game, you have your fighter and they can cleave or they can power strike. That would be a special effect in this game, right? But each of your distinctions gets one free special effect, and this is what it is. It's called hinder. So you can write it down under or next to each of your distinctions. Hinder. Okay. And what this does is you gain a PowerPoint when you switch out this distinctions dice for a D4. Now, what that means is, say you're making a roll and you have a bunch of dice and you feel comfortable that you don't really need the distinction dice to succeed, you can gain an extra PowerPoint by simply rolling a D4 instead of a D8 on that particular roll. It's just another way to get a PowerPoint. In this game, like I said, you get a lot of PowerPoints, and you're going to spend a lot of PowerPoints. So it's a very important resource. It's not like other games. It's an actual resource. Each of your distinctions has this special effect attached, hinder. At any time when you're making a roll, you can choose to use a D4 instead of the dice that is there, and you gain a PowerPoint for restricting yourself like that. Okay?
All right.
And,
Sounds like, yeah.
okay, do you guys understand that? Did you write that down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can essentially hinder my
Yourself.
skill. Yeah, I can hinder myself for my skills.
But you gain a PowerPoint. Well, as I said, is an important resource, and it depends. And that's one of the things I do like about this game. You guys will see as we go forward. This puts a lot of there's tension in the rolling because you have to make choices. Do I do this in order to gain that, or do I not risk it? There's a lot of that in this game. I think it's cool. So each of your three distinctions has this special effects, or SFX in the game, just abbreviates it like that. They get that automatically. That is free. Okay. And then you get two more distinctions that you can apply, two more special effects that you can apply to your distinctions. So not three, so only two of them are going to have a bonus one here. And think of it just like I mentioned with the D&D. When you had your rogue or your priest or your bard or fighter or whatever it was, they had a bunch of special abilities they got, right? And that's what this is in this game. So think of anything you would like to apply to one of the distinctions that makes sense. Like, for instance, sly, weathered barfly, right? Maybe you have a special effect that you spend a PowerPoint and you can step up a dice in any social interaction. That might be a good one, right? Or you could go kind of the dirty barfly, and you could say that for this scene, reduce your physical dice by one step, and step up your social dice by one step. You could do that. These things are either spending PowerPoints to get extra dice, doubling dice, stepping up dice. You could also use it to hinder, me, the opponent. But there's some penalty. So it's either spending a PowerPoint, or there's some reduction of something else, or some hindering of something else. And it's very free formed, which is why it's so fiddly. Instead of just giving a list, it's very free formed. But we all have played enough role playing games that we understand the concept of a special ability. Like I said, the fighter's
Okay.
cleave is a perfect example. Second wind, right? It's a perfect example. But of course, the special effect needs, or like I said, in this game, they abbreviate it SFX. Okay. But the special effect has to apply to what the distinction is, right? So we need
When
to
you
think about
gave
that.
your example a while ago of taking a die from physical and adding it for PowerPoint to use, no?
Well, there are options, right?
How
You
long does it last? What I refer to,
it
how long is the physical hindered?
it lasts that scene. But in
It
that
lasts the scene,
case,
okay.
it would be a social scene. It wouldn't be a physical one so much anyway, unless you really screwed up. But it lasts the scene, or it lasts
Okay.
instantaneously. A PowerPoint is spent and you're done, right? But there
All right.
needs to be some limitation. There needs to be some pain to it. right? You're either paying PowerPoints or you're getting some reduction. Let me come up here to special effects and kind of get into that a little bit. I don't think it's very far from me here, so let me scroll up. This context is not really well set up, is it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so here are the 6 standard special effects that you can apply. Now, the good thing is we're going to do abilities here in a minute, and those are easy. That's super. This is the last difficult thing. Everything else is easy. Ability, you choose one, and it tells you exactly what you can do. It's easy. But this is the more difficult part. But anyway, so these are the 6 options that you can apply. And like I said, it's very generic because you're applying it specifically to whatever that distinction is, right? One is called the exchange. You step up or double one useful dice for the scene, but step down one other die in exchange until you do a recovery action, which means, in between between scene breaks. So like I said, he could step up his social die, or excuse me, his barfly being his where he's got his social stuff sitting at, up one step, and he could reduce another one. And you have to choose right now which one gets reduced. But that's one option of how to use a special effect. And like I said, it's mechanically, these are what's happening mechanically, but we're going to name the special effect in such a way. Like the one I gave him, where he's up in a social and he's lower in physical, for instance. You could call it smooth talker, right? Something like that. But that's one. The second general standard option is the price. Step up or double one useful die for the scene, same as the one above, or take a 8 asset for the scene. Now, an asset is anything in the scene that you, like I said, with his cigar, he could blow smoke in her face or burn it with it, right? You can spend a PowerPoint and make things assets. But this special effects lets you do that without spending PowerPoints. And instead, you are going to be doing something else and choose one to benefit here, not a both, but also take an 8 complication. So he uses the cigar to burn the girl, but there's an 8 complication on the table. So that goes both ways, and I can use that complication in my pool now if I want. That's how it works. Complications in this game, whether it be something in the environment, or you guys are injured, your stress level has gone up, which we'll get into later, I get that added to my pool. That's how it works. It's very, very simple when I roll. So that's the price. The swap and the rest of these are all PowerPoint based. So the swap is spend a PowerPoint to use a different die than would normally be appropriate for a given action. So say I don't know what he did, but let's say his barfly one, he only put a D6 in, and he put his commander one, he put like a D10 in, right? And normally it's fine, but he really needs to succeed in this role. So he spends a PowerPoint and he uses his commander dice instead of his barfly dice, right? Okay. The next option is the edit. Spend a PowerPoint to declare a beneficial thing to be true. In this game, you can state things. You spend a PowerPoint and you can state things to change the environment. It has to be logical, but you can do that. But in this case, you spend a PowerPoint to declare a beneficial thing to be true in the fiction, our story, based on your description. Now, it's a little bit weird of one because you can kind of do that anyway with PowerPoint. So I don't know why that's in here, but there's an option. The folly, earn a PowerPoint, just like hinder allows you to earn a PowerPoint, right? This one, earn a PowerPoint when you choose to do something detrimental related to the distinction. So in the case of the hinder, you are reducing your dice down to a D4, and you get a PowerPoint for doing that. You could do something similar like that. And the other general idea of special effects is the shutdown. Earn a PowerPoint when you declare that, due to appropriate circumstances based on your distinction, you have lost access to one or more of your attributes, skills, we're not using roles. Attributes or skills for the scene and cannot use it for any action. That's painful. But you can gain an extra PowerPoint by not reducing, simply losing access to an attribute or a skill, which you have to choose during the creation, because each of these special effects, you're going to name it and you're going to flesh it out very specifically. So let's say that you can gain a PowerPoint, but you can't use your knowledge or your fight or whatever for the rest of the scene. And it's seen as just like we think it's whatever scene is happening, right? It's you guys know what that is. So you understand these are kind of some options you can choose.
Yeah.
And you need to apply 2 separate special effects to 2 of your distinctions.
At the creation of the character.
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
Right.
But like I said, just think of it like D&D special abilities for your class. Just think of it like that, because that's what it is.
Okay, so my question with this is, all right, let's say I made a skill called grounded, because I'm not going to be flying.
Not skill, special
right?
effect, but yeah.
Or special effect, I mean. So essentially, if that effect was for this scene, I can't use the fly skill, but I get a PowerPoint.
Well, fly
that
means pilot.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So
Well, no, it has to make sense for the distinction. It needs to be an actual penalty. It needs to, and that's why they're so vague, because the distinction can be anything, right? Whatever you come up with. So we're given some very vague ideas of how to apply. That's like I said, really think about it as class abilities from D&D. Choose something you would like your character to be able to do, because consider your distinctions are kind of like your race and your class together. It's what they are, right? These things allow you access to various activities. And keep in mind in this game, because we are going to get abilities here in a minute, umbral-based abilities. So they're powers, right? Is what they are, and they're very vague. Like for instance, you could take fly, right? But how do you apply that? Well, that's narrative in this game, right? And you can push the believability as much as you want to try, as much as you think I'll let you get away with. But this game is a very narrative game. Therefore, think of some ability you want for your distinction. Keep in mind, distinctions are kind of like if you took race and class and mashed them together, right? And some special ability that goes with it, right? Now think about his. What's your commander one tower? Tower.
Yeah.
Power.
Read that
Yeah.
distinction, the commander distinction. Read that.
Oh shit! My phone turned off. Wait, where's it at?
I don't know. You wrote it down.
Yeah, where is it on your phone, dude? Or did you put it on paper?
You
I don't
should
know.
put it on paper. Tower, you need paper and pencil for this game. Do not
Yeah,
use.
I am.
Yeah.
I've been writing down the skills and all that.
Good. So, what is your distinction? Your something commander.
Fleet stubborn commander.
Fleet stubborn commander. So in here, we're definitely getting a combat feel, right? So he could apply some kind of tactic like ambush or backstab or something like that, right? Or he could have something that he's going to call inspire the troops, or field direction or whatever. He'll give it some kind of name, right? And we understand. Okay, well, he's trying to influence the others in some way with an inspiration roll, right? Therefore, he's going to have some kind of benefit at some kind of cost. So in that case, we could say that with that ability, let's call it inspire the troops, right? This special effect. Well, no, I'm just giving you an example. But we could call it inspire the troops, and for 1 PowerPoint, you can increase the combat die of everyone in your party for 1 round.
Okay.
Right? You spend a PowerPoint. Everyone gets 1 step on their on their physical, because it's going to be combat, so physical die. I mean, something like that's a good example, right? It costs you a
Yeah.
PowerPoint, but it inspires everyone, right? And
Yeah.
therefore, this comes in on my side. If your character's in a situation where you can't speak, you're not going to be able to use that special effect, right? But in general, you would. You guys understand? I know this is the most fiddly part of the game. I get it. And trust me, after this, everything is easy.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
keeping my SFX simple.
Yeah, no, I
So
think you should. Yeah.
yeah, so basically what I have set up is after hinder, so I've got headshot, and it just increases my
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry,
my
what? Say it again.
headshot, which just increases my warrior distinction by 1. So it makes it a D12, but it also reduces my sleuth distinction down to a D6. And
Sounds good.
and then for my last one, Eagle Eyed is basically the reverse. So it's increases my sleuth to D10 and my warrior to a D8.
Okay.
Just keep it
In those
simple.
situations,
Yeah.
there's no PowerPoints. You're just simply taking reductions, and that's fine. But keep in mind, those reductions are for the scene,
Yes.
the entire scene. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good. Lady.
I'm working on is giving a PowerPoint from the social technical beauty. I dropped that 1 die to add to I was thinking about take this job and shove it or kiss my ass, but whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but
Um,
what is it doing? What does it do? What's the
that's what I
point?
was trying to figure out. What will it do?
Well, what do you want it to do? I mean, think about think about the ability first, and then we'll apply the mechanics, right? So, what is it you're trying to do here? What is it that you want to, what special ability you're trying to create here, lady?
I'm thinking
Well, you said take this job and shove it, so you must have some Dolly Parton concept in your head.
just a dead shot
Dead
between
shot.
the eyes. Yeah.
What does that have to do with take this job and shove it?
You don't look beautiful when you're shooting somebody, now do you?
No, that's not a proper thinking. Yeah, that's not
Okay, that's
that's
wrong
not
then.
proper
All
thinking at
right.
all.
Okay.
Take
Kind of
this
left
job and
field.
shove it would be something in my mind that applies to some form of intimidation.
Which I don't have no influence anyway, so okay. So no,
Look, go ahead
know
and
that.
read your distinctions to me again, lady. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. The Imbles whatever for the perfect memory.
No, no, no.
Military
Go back up to the first distinction and read it out completely for me, please.
distinction. I kind of wrote them really weird.
Yeah, they should
One
be
is
1, 2, 3 with huge chunk of space underneath of them because you need to write shit down.
I didn't leave enough space. I didn't leave enough
Yeah,
space.
that's okay. You gotta have to rewrite your character sheets anyway. Go ahead and read them, please.
Socially, technically, beauty. Grim Imbar hacker. And the perfect
Grim
memory
what?
military.
Grim what?
Ha! Grim. Personality grim. Umbar. The magic
Umber.
thing.
Oh,
Umber.
oh.
I'm sorry. I caught the
Umbra.
Umbra.
The
Up on the
word
screen.
is umbra. Umbra.
Or
Umbra.
umbral, but
Well,
either way.
umbral would be
Underbra.
possessive, but yeah, the
Yeah.
umbra or umbral of the umbra. Yeah. Okay. So read that one again. So that was something umbral what? Read it again.
Hacker.
Hacker. What was the grim umbral hacker? Okay. So let's look at this one.
Yeah.
This is your computer-based thing. All right. Oren,
Mhm.
what are you upset about? It's a fly. Eat it. Okay, sorry, I'm talking to my dog. But anyway, so we got this grim umbral hacker. Let's say that you have an ability that um, you can use your umbral skill to cause computers and electronics to turn on or off, right? So therefore, you would have to make a roll for that, which is fine. But so let's say you spend a PowerPoint, and you can change the fiction, meaning edit it. So you spend a PowerPoint, and you can cause electronics to either function or go or mayhem.
Okay, so but I got to say I didn't have no PowerPoints. I would reduce the die in social.
Yeah, but see, the thing
Okay.
is, you guys keep wanting to get away from the PowerPoints, and I've been trying to tell you the whole time. PowerPoints is a resource in this game. You're going to have tons of them. Tons of them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
this is a major resource in the game. Yeah, don't
Okay.
be. I know you guys are shying away, but don't do it. Don't do it. You'll have plenty of PowerPoints, guys. It's an actual resource. Really, really, really.
Point,
Okay. I was just keeping it simple for now,
That's
but
fine. But the PowerPoint is the simple way to go, right? Tower, how you doing?
Hello.
Yes.
hi.
Okay. I didn't know if my thing cut out. My phone's like
How
overheating
many
a
of
little
these are we
bit.
supposed to create? 3
Two.
or 2?
Just two.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's one.
But I mean, lady, you remember how we were playing D&D, and you had your character, and your character had class abilities. You remember? Yeah. No.
Abilities. Class abilities. No.
When we were playing D&D,
It,
your character had abilities, things they could do, special bonuses.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
this
Okay.
is. That's what we're doing. Just come
All
up
right.
with what you want your character to do special, and then we'll figure out the mechanics. It's really not that hard. Tower,
All right.
How many? I get one or two of these?
you get two.
Two. Cool.
mhm.
I'm liking the idea for the. I'm trying to think of how to word it or what's going to work great.
Don't worry
But
about
I
that.
like.
Just tell me what ability you want. And these are not magical per se. They're just kind of like class abilities, racial
Okay.
abilities.
I like the idea with commander and influence being able to inspire people.
So write it down.
Expend a power.
Inspire the troops. Write that down underneath that distinction. It goes with the distinction. It's set. So inspire the troops.
Okay.
Spend one PP, one PowerPoint,
Okay.
and for that round, all of your allies gain one step up in their combat ability. So physical. We'll say physical. Just write it down as physical. So spend one PowerPoint, and your allies gain one step up in physical. Okay, and write down must be able to speak. That's the limitation for it. Well, of course, you're speaking, right?
I think he's going about to cut out your tongue. You better watch out.
I'm just saying that's fine. That's perfect. It makes
Mhm.
sense,
Okay.
right? And then you
Got
need
Yep.
one
one
more.
more. So just think of look at your three distinctions. That one's done. So look at your other two distinctions, look what they are, and think of what kind of special ability would go with that. What would make sense for that?
I could put ambush, something with ambush too, with sly. Because
Good.
sly is sneaky, ambush for attack.
Yeah, maybe just call it backstab
Okay.
or ambush. You can call it whatever you want. Ambush, fine.
I like backstab better, actually.
Backstab. So spend a PowerPoint to step up the effect die by 1. Perfect. So now you're doing more damage.
Backstab.
So you keep spend a PowerPoint and step up the effect die by 1. So say you keep a D6 as your effect die. If you succeed in that attack, it would actually be a D8. And the way stress works in this game is pretty neat. I'm looking forward to trying it. But stress keeps getting applied, and every time you have a level of stress or damage, I get to roll that dice, whatever it is. So say in this case a D8, I get to roll that with my pool, right? Because that's your complication. You're being hindered. And if at any time if my die is equal to or greater than your current effect die, it steps up one. If you ever go over D12, meaning if you have D12 in your stress, and I roll another, and I put another D12 effect die, then you are knocked out, and you will gain a D6 of trauma. Trauma takes longer to heal. And if your trauma dice, because if you keep taking damage from grenades or whatever kind of thing, and if that trauma dice steps up to past D12, you're dead. Simple. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So so you're good, Tower, right?
Yeah.
You wrote it down. Read it out to me.
Backstab. Spend 1 power point to step up effect die by 1.
Yep. Perfect. 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 So you're
Yeah.
done. GOP's done. Lady, how you doing?
Okay, for my last one, spin PowerPoint to escape if I've ever been restrained.
Okay.
Slipped.
Okay. So therefore we're applying dice. So so maybe in this case do like this. Spend 1 power point to double. Write this down. Spend 1 power point to double the physical die in escape attempts. So whatever your die is, what is your die in physical right now? What is it's an 8, right? I think you just took 8 across the board. So you would get
Yeah.
by spending that power point to make an escape roll, you would get 2d8 from your physical, and then your whatever distinction and skill you also apply. So in essence, you would be looking at a 4 dice roll. Okay, simple.
Okay.
All right. So everyone's got 2. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, good. Now I know that was the most fiddly part, but I think it's just getting your brain around it, which is why I kept telling everyone it's kind of like the class skills, but it's more vague because distinctions don't feel like that, but they are. That is what they are. Anyway, so that's done. So we did the special effects for our distinctions. We did our spending for our skills, and then we only have 2 things left to do other than your bio stuff, which I'll explain that in a second. So next thing we need to do, you have 5 points you get to spend here. Okay. Now these points can be spent on different things. For instance, you could add a specialty to a skill rated at 6 or higher. Now, what are specialties? Now you have 5 points. Each one is applied directly in these 3 options I'm going to give you. So let's say you have drive. Okay, you took the drive skill, but you want to specialize in motorcycles or trains, whatever. Say you're going to specialize in motorcycles. So the specialty, you got to write it next to the skill. You got to write specialty, whatever, and specifically go into that skill and choose one thing out, like motorcycles from drive, and it gives you a D6. This D6 is rolled in addition. So if you're making a drive roll, so you would add your physical, of course, or possibly mental. You can make an argument for that. One of those dice. You got to add one of your distinctions that you think would apply to driving, and then you would add your drive skill. So that's 3 dice. Let's say it's 3 8-siders, just for simplicity. But because you're using a motorcycle and you're specialized in it, you also get a D6 added to it as a bonus. So that would be 4 dice in your pool, 3 8-siders and 1 6-sider. That's how specialties work. And they start at D6. Okay. So you can choose specialties for your skills, And like I said, that's why they're so vague. Because you can go into them and pick out one particular thing, like fighting. You could say karate, or you could say knives. For for your operate, you could choose computers, right? So you can do that. You also can create a signature asset. Now, assets in this game are basically objects, right? And like I said before, just because you have a gun on your hip and you're using that gun, it doesn't add any dice to the pool. You're simply using your physical, whatever distinction applies, and your shoot skill, right? Maybe if you chose guns, maybe you get a bonus d6 as well. But the gun itself is not adding anything to the pool, right? It's just part of you. However, a signature asset gun does add a d6 to the pool. And to keep in mind, all these dice here, when we get into experience points and stuff like that, they can all be stepped up. Everything in this game could be stepped up by spending experience points. But right now it starts at D6. So you could take either a specialty in your skills, gain a bonus D6. You could take a signature asset. It could be anything. It could be a set of goggles. It could be a jacket or whatever. Whatever object you want. It's just that object offers a dice in gameplay, right? Where normally they don't. Or you could take one of your one of those assets that you might choose, like say that gun, and you can spend one of the 5 points to step that up to a D8 once. Any further expansion of the asset has to be done with experience points. So you have 5 points to spend. Spend them.
Okay, so the 5 points I'm spending on my skills in a specified way, and
You're choosing specialties out of your skills. So, like
okay,
for instance, what is your highest skill right now?
definitely influence would be a
Influence.
D12.
Okay, so influence. So let's say you took out of that situation social settings, right? So like at a
Yeah.
bar, right? At a party, social settings, right? You chose that as your specialty. So anytime you're in a social setting, you get an additional D6 added to your pool. Okay,
My
there's
bad. I did the D12 to perform.
no. I'm not talking about your skill. I'm talking about what specialization does. When you choose a
Okay,
specialization within the skill, it just adds an additional D6 to the roll. That's it. You
okay,
still have your D12, but now you're if you like you. Where was your D12 at? Where was that in perform?
yes,
Okay, so maybe small talk, pillow talk, earworm, whatever you want to call it. When you're using those kind of specific situations, you get an additional D6 in your pool. That's all
okay.
specialties are. They're just making you a little bit better at a specific thing within the skill, not the skill itself, a specific thing in the skill.
Now, what would be a good one for occult?
Demonology, magical research, sorcery, umbral geography, etc., etc. Rune crafting, which is a thing.
1, 2, 3.
Craft, magical, etc. GOP, you get me?
Yep,
Sweet.
I'm pretty sure I've got it figured out.
Yeah, and also with those 5 points, because you could just take 5 specializations inside skills. You could do that, but you also can choose assets. Like I said, they're not some special magical thing; they're just a thing. But they offer a dice to your dice pool, which most things don't. You can have something as simple as, say, you have abilities that makes you really good at hacking computer systems, and maybe you have one of your special assets is a really souped up iPhone that allows you to interact with things really wide,
Actually, I was going to say tablet or
Bluetooth,
something like that.
and
One of my
that
assets could be a cigar.
well, I mean, it needs to make sense and be useful. I mean, you don't want to waste the point. This game, these things are precious. But you can create an asset, and it's going to add another d6. And of course, like I said, with these points, you could step up an asset one die to a d8 if you chose to spend a point that way. But of course, with XP, you can do that anyway. But
And how many assets do we get?
you have 5 points to spend. You can spend them any way you want. You can either take specializations or assets. You could take 5 skills, no assets. You could take 5 assets, no specializations, or you could split it up, right? And another thing that's really good about an asset, uh, let's say in the fight, one of my NPCs takes a shot at you, and I do an aim shot, and I shoot the gun out of your hand. Right now, normally that game that would say that gun is broken and it's useless, it's gone, it's done. That's fine. Next game session, you're back at headquarters and you buy a new one, right? Or get a new one. But a signature asset always comes back to you, whether you're repairing or fixing. It could even be between scenes. You can make a roll to get it repaired or fixed or running again. So that's a real big benefit of an asset. Not only adding the die to the roll, but the fact that you're always going to have it, right? Do you understand, Tower?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking for assets, I got a powerful phone because that'd be useful, and a
For
44
lady,
Magnum.
I think it's inset there. There
For
you
a
go.
lady, it would be a powerful use. I was thinking to add to that an artificial intelligence
Well, that and
that
I
can
hopped up
leave
my
the phone
guns.
and do things as I tell her over the phone that this needs to be done, this door needs to be open. Like if it's I'm with the group and she's over there actually in the computer already,
I
since we
would.
already
That's pretty serious. These are normal objects, right?
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Now
Hey,
we're
Chester.
we're about to get into something though, lady, that would be allowed. So hold your horses on that. But I
Okay.
would say definitely a phone that allows you to through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to use your security hacking skills. That would definitely be
Okay.
a perfect signature asset for you. Yes, Tower.
So something like this would work out great for me because I don't have a lot of physical. Say, have shooting. Let's see. I don't have shooting hopped up, but I did do. I hopped it up by. Well, I did actually. I did it by 2, and then specialized with handguns, and then my asset's a 44 Magnum.
There you go. Perfect.
So
So that right there is
bonusing
2 points of
bonusing
the
and
5
bonusing.
spent. So you take underneath shoot, take guns, not handgun, guns. Don't limit yourself that much. Guns. So that means anytime you use a gun, you get an additional d6 to add to the pool. And
Okay.
your asset you take as a special gun, whatever gun you want it to be. It's not a extra powered gun. It's just a gun, right? But it adds its d6 to the roll too. So in what you just done by spending 2 of those 5 points, you've added 2 6-siders to your pool. Therefore, you're looking at a pool of 5 dice. Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Which would be a hell of an attack with that revolver.
Well, possibly, but because more dice gives you the more ability to get higher rolls. Because remember, you're only keeping 2 dice, right? No matter how many
Yeah.
dice you roll, you're only keeping 2 for your result, and then 1 is used for your effect. But the more dice you have, the more options you have. So you're shooting with a gun, 5 dice. They're not huge dice, but they're pretty good. And keep in mind, with experience point, you can step stuff up. For instance, you just spent 2 of your special points on that. Why not spend a third one and make those Magnum guns even better, and step them up by 1 to a D8
How would I do that?
by spending a
Well,
point. Therefore, you've spent 3 points by doing that, and you have 2 points left. So do
Yeah,
like
but
this.
how
Do like this, Tower. Underneath your shoot, write down specialty guns.
on top of regular guns.
Yeah. No, just write down shoot. What is the die sitting in shoot right now?
2.
No, no.
Well,
What is the
actually, no, it'd
die?
be 4, 6, 4. It'd be 4, so 6, so 8. It'd
So
be
okay,
8.
you have an 8. You have a D8 in shoot. Well, then next to that, write down specialty guns.
Yeah, it is.
D6.
Oh no. Oh, I just had wrote regular. I had wrote guns next to that, so that makes that
Yeah, but
8
you
or
should
10.
no, it doesn't work like that. Please, it doesn't work like that. You have
Okay.
shoot D8. Next to that, write down specialty guns, please. And then D6.
Okay.
And
It
then
doesn't
further,
step up the die. It just
yeah,
adds
I'm
damage.
no, we're not stepping anything, lady. We're not. We
That's
just
what I mean. It's not doing
no,
that.
it's not doing that, right? And then down at the bottom of the page, write down signature asset.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever Magnum 44, whatever it is you're using, write that down. Okay, D8, and then you still have 2 points to spend. Pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, which I'd use on the phone and small talk. Okay,
Which you could.
that works.
Now let's stay on target here and say you're shooting your gun. So tell me, what dice are you going to use to make your pool to shoot your gun? What's going to happen? Physical,
It's looking like
obviously. Well, no, let's start at the top. Physical obviously gets added. What is your physical die right now?
6.
It's a 6. Okay, so we have a 6-sider. Okay, there we go. All right. Next, which one of your distinctions you think applies to shooting guns?
Obviously, well,
Probably the commander one.
weather commander would, but you could say weather could because he's been around the block.
That doesn't necessarily apply to guns, but the commander definitely does. And what's the dice size in that one?
6.
A 6. Okay, so now, okay, I got another 6 sitting right next to it. Okay, what is your shoot skill dice?
8.
It's an 8. Do you have a specialty in guns?
Yes.
You do. Okay, well
Like,
that's another D6,
D6,
right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any special assets that may be guns?
Yep. Signature asset.
And what is the
Which
dice?
is the D8.
It's a D8.
D8.
So basically, I've just put together in front of me, you have 3 6-siders and 2 8s. So every time you shoot your gun, you roll that pool, which I just did, and you take 2 of them to make your total and 1 as your effect die. What I just rolled was this. I just got a 12 on those dice over there and a D8 for effect. So that's a 12 attack and a D8 for my effect die. Pretty nice. You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Sweet. So GOP, I'm assuming you're finished.
Yep, I'm done. So for my, oh, I mean, I had plenty of time.
Well, GOP and I are gamers for a long time, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so for my specialty, I picked up guns under my shoot because that's an obvious one for me, along with a signature asset, Lucky MP5. That's what I call it,
Sweet.
and I bumped that up to a D8.
Okay.
And so for my last 2 things, I have knives under my fighting skill and under my noticeability. So that's like my being able to find things and stuff. I put urban as for urban environments, giving myself a
Sure.
D6 because
Sure.
my character was kind of more trained in that
No,
kind
it
of
makes sense.
setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Perfect. Lady.
I mean, everyone's taking guns, so I'm scratching it off. I heard or misunderstood a while ago that the souped up iPhone is that too specialty points or just
Well, I
one?
mean, if you want it to be, when you buy an asset, it comes in as a D6. You can also spend one of these 5 points to pump it up, step it up to a D8. Which why not, right? So
Yeah, why
your
not?
your special hacking phone, just give it a fancy name. That's fine. D8,
All right.
right? No problem. Then you still have 3 points.
I was and the fighting skill. I heard so many great things. I'm like, could I? No, cheating. I'm not taking that.
You could take another asset, or you could put those. I would personally put those 3 into skill specialization. Is what I do.
Specialization.
I mean, that asset is perfect for you. So
Like the skill, the going back and picking up additional dice in skills I didn't pick up on already.
You could do that too. You could use it to make yourself even better at something, or you could use it to, balance yourself out some. Matter of fact, you particularly with your fix and things like that, you might want to put a specialty in craft. Did you put 1 point in craft? You have to have a minimum of a D6 to take a specialty. Did you put any points in craft?
No, did not.
You really should. You particularly really, really should. You should reduce one of those skills by at least one and add one to
It
your
doesn't have
craft.
to be a highlighted skill, right?
No, it doesn't. But you should at
Okay.
least have 1 point in craft. You particularly. I think everybody should in this game. But
Okay.
honestly, you should have at least
I
1 point.
moved. I had move and sneak, so I took off move and put it over there on craft.
No problem. Perfect. Okay. And so therefore, I would spend one of those points of the remaining 3 in craft and write down magical, specialty magical, or arcane maybe. D6. And then you have 2 more points to spend.
2 more points.
GOP, we're going to make gamers out of these guys. By God, we're going to do it.
Oh,
You first.
what's up?
Well, no, I'm just saying, I guess GOP, there's a certain mentality being a gamer in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would wager that is accurate.
Yeah. But we're gonna flesh these fellas out. Wow, you just killed my entire stream, baby. Thank you. No, these things are connected. Sorry for that, everybody.
So if I
lady, how we doing here? Come on now. It's just choose a skill you want to make better and put a specialty in it. It's not hard.
How about flying like a fly is just like normal flying. What about like having the skills of a pilot jet person, fighter?
That just depends on the size of the dice, really. But by putting a specialty in it,
so it's a 6.
well, what the
already.
specialty would do, it give you more flexibility, meaning, whether it be helicopters or cargo planes or fighter jets or whatever. What is your fly skill dice right now anyway?
It's a highlighted one, so it starts with a D6.
So it's a D6. Okay. So you just put a
Yeah.
specialty in it. Any kind of you can fly anything, and you have 2 6-sided to add to the pool when you're doing that. Sure. Go ahead.
2D6 by flying then.
Well, no.
And that's
Write down next to fly specialty something. Choose something that you're specialized in. Helicopters,
Helicopter.
or jets,
Yeah.
or airliners.
What would the group normally fly in? What would the group
Fly
normally
just
fly?
covers everything.
I know, but
Yeah, so fly is like general, you can fly anything, but then if you're flying a particular type of vehicle, let's say the vehicle you're really good at flying, so let's say a helicopter or a jet or something, you'll have that specific thing. So let's say if your specialty was helicopters, right? But we were flying in like a regular airplane,
A
you
Cessna.
would only get the D6 for flying. All right, but if we were flying in a helicopter, you would get the D6 for flying, and you would get the other D6 for helicopter. So
Specialization.
you would
Okay.
get both in there.
Took the helicopter.
Okay.
Okay.
And that leaves you one more point, lady.
One more point.
You spent 4 so far, right?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
So choose a skill
Mm.
and let's find a specialization for it. How about your computers? So underneath either knowledge or operate, right? One or the other.
Operate.
Uh,
Well, I got it.
so
Right.
specialization, computers, D6.
Okay.
Easy enough.
And if it happens to be a PC, there you go.
That's true. That's true, right? Okay, good. We're going a little over, but I want to get this done. I want to get this done. Now, all the biographical information you guys can do on your own, and that's simple. Each of those descriptions is where you're going to do your background stuff. So each one of those descriptions, look at them and give a little background of why they're true. Right? A couple sentences for each distinction. That's where you do your background stuff, fleshing it out. And we're going to read them next week, so definitely do that. And we already got our name, but you can, your hair color, height, you can do all that stuff. But you do that on your own. But now we need to do the last part of this. So what I want everybody to do, please open up the Cortex Prime that I put in the Google Drive. Please open that. Okay.
Okay.
And please go down to the abilities list. Okay.
Where do I find this in the Google Drive?
It's in the Google Drive, and just open up the Cortex Prime book. In our groups, not in your Google Drive, in our group's Google Drive.
Ability.
Where is the abilities list on the table contents?
It's at the very bottom. It's in Prime lists. It's the second one. We're not using powers. We're using abilities. It's just simple.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just simple.
Page 194. All right. And it's telling me there's problem loading the page. Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Okay. Did you find it, Tower?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I haven't used Google Drive really in a very long time.
It's simple. Go to Google Drive and see the one shared with me.
Yep.
Shared with me. And then
Cortex
Bugbear's
Prime.
Basement, Cortex Prime, double click it, open it.
Okay.
Open up the context and go down to the bottom to the ability list. Lady, you good? Yeah, I know you're good. You already have it open.
Yeah.
What page is it?
Just on the page. Let me see what page this is here.
198. If you have it full on your full screen.
There you go.
If
Ladies
it's on,
on it.
if it's on full screen. So
Yeah. It's 194 is the actual page number.
Yeah. Okay.
I got you.
Okay.
I found it.
Awesome. Now here is I'm using abilities instead of powers because powers is more versatile, sure, but in this game this is not a heavily magic game. So abilities make more sense and they're much easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to look through this list and you're going to choose one. The Umbra has, through your tether you have to the Umbra, it has affected you and expressed itself in one way. You have one ability and it is at a D6. So choose one of these, write the word down, and then D6. They do what they're going to do. Also, there's many examples below of how you can spend power points to do special things with the abilities. You can choose one of those. But in general, the power does what it does anyway without spending any power points. and it does it at that D6 strength, that die strength. And of course, with experience points, you can level that up. But everyone gets one. And it's a very extensive list. There's all kind of stuff. We got absorption, animal control, adaptation, animal mimicry, all kind of stuff. But the Umbra is expressing itself through you in a very particular way. So just look through that list and just pick one. It's really, really super simple.
No reason to get anything else. So the comprehension for me.
So what did you choose?
Comprehension.
Comprehension. All right, let's take a look at that while the other guy's doing it.
Did you even look through the full list and read some of it?
I read some of it, and then I found what I liked.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
fine. It's not a hard thing. All right, so Tower, while they're checking, let's walk you through it. So write down under a new category on your sheet, which you probably have to rewrite these. Write down the word ability. Okay. And then
Okay. Okay.
okay.
Okay.
And then underneath that, write down. You can just take the word comprehension, or you can create any kind of descriptor you want it. Umbral psychic awareness, maybe, or whatever. You could just write comprehension if you like. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. So we have our whatever descriptor you just chose. Limits. Each one of these abilities has a limit. So there's something that keeps you from using it. Some of the examples they give for comprehension is auditory, meaning you can only use it with what you can hear, right? Or you could choose visually. If you can't see, you can't use it, right? Or time of day, or whatever. Any kind of limitation that keeps you from using your ability. And while you think about that, I'll go ahead and read the ability. You are a savant, able to understand unusual languages and decipher impenetrable codes. Even if you've never seen or heard the language before in your life, or the ciphers are alien or otherwise impossible to understand, you have a handle on it. If it's encoded in symbols, you can puzzle it out. Include the ability die when reading or deciphering strange languages or codes, or when using what you've learned. Sweet. Very nice. You might even want to go back and do a little bit of adjustment. If you don't have to, but you could with your skills, and make sure you have some kind of knowledge, philology, or you took a cult, right? I gave you a cult. Yeah, so that covers it. You're fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's very straightforward. It's very nice, very handy. It works all the time. You don't have to spend any PowerPoints. It just works. Okay. But it does have a limitation. There is some situation that keeps you from using your ability. And what would that be?
I'll
Like,
give you
What?
options.
like
Yeah.
X,
What?
well, like for instance, Superman's X-ray vision, he can't see through lead, right? Maybe your ability to decipher is very auditory based. It's not, even though you're reading it, your mind is sounding it and your ears are hearing it literally in your head. And if there's some situation where you can't hear because there's too much noise, you've been somehow impaired, you can't use your ability. Or it could be the opposite. It could be visual,
I'm,
right? Maybe it only works at nighttime.
I'd say visual would probably be the one. Like if I can see it, I can use it.
Okay, because keep in mind, this is not only reading and writing, it's also speaking, dude.
Oh, and then
Right?
what would time
Well,
affect?
maybe you only works at night, or only works at day, or only works in March. I wouldn't do that.
Only. I'd
Or
say only works in.
maybe it doesn't work in the presence of religious people, or because we're a bad guy. Maybe you've been marked. Maybe it
I
doesn't
like that
work.
one actually. Doesn't work if a pasture's nearby.
Yeah, if you're in the presence of God's servants.
I like that limitation. I'll do that one.
Okay, well there you go. And then beyond that, as you write that down, you get to choose one of these special effects. And this is an extra thing you can do. And keep in mind, as you're starting with a D6, but once your ability is stepped up to a D8, you get another one. And once it's stepped up to a D12, you get another one for free. Okay. But now we start with one, and here's your options. All these you have to spend a PowerPoint and you get some benefit. Here are some examples. You can instantly understand a spoken language you've never heard before. Because normally you're going to have to suss it out, you're going to work it out, you have to and awe your way through it. But if you spend a PowerPoint, poof, you speak it fluently. No time
Okay,
wasted,
so
right?
I can spend a PowerPoint to become a Chester. Got it.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Because normally it's going to take you a little work. You're going to get through it no matter what. It's a time factor. The other one is very similar. You can find out alien technology well enough to use it. So if you see some technology that you don't understand, never seen before, in this game it wouldn't be alien, it would be dimensional, transdimensional. But you just kind of know how to use it by spending a PowerPoint. Or
Okay.
you could deduce the language or code's origin in general terms. So you can, like, say you see some kind of cipher or some kind of code. You can say, you know what? That's what the British use. I don't know how I know that, but I know the British use it. Damn limeys.
Mm-hmm.
Another option to write or speak in response to what you've deciphered. So normally, you can figure out how to hear something and read and write, but it's going to take more time to be able to speak it. It's a time factor. All these are time factors. But you spend a PowerPoint, boom, you're instantly speaking it without spending any time on it. Or last one, you can read binary code to reconstitute data files or understand a program's function. Damn. That's
That
powerful,
sounds
GOP.
complicated. Huh?
That,
Mm-hmm.
that's very
What?
serious. That's powerful, dude. You can read computer code and decipher and to the point of being able to reprogram things, dude.
I'll do that one.
That's very.
Ah! Not on my
Nice.
computers, you don't.
You are
Oh,
stepping
you
on her.
can't stop me.
You are stepping on her toes a little bit with that.
Those are my grounds.
To be honest with you, I would probably go with the simple instant understanding of language. I mean, you could go with that. That is pretty cool. But you are stepping on her toes. That is kind of her. She's built her character for that, dude.
Spend a PP to instantly understand spoken language.
Yeah.
That's what you would go with?
Yeah, I think that'd be
Okay.
better. It's more useful.
I'll take that one then.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Very nice. Very nice. So GOP, what did you go with, man?
Density control.
I'm sorry.
You
Say that
can
again.
change density
Oh,
control.
density control. Sweet.
Density. Yes.
Yes.
You can change the space between molecules in your body. In effect, you can walk through walls, become hard as stone, or both. Include the ability die whenever your altered density benefits you. So,
Right. So keep in mind that that would be added to combats, right?
mhm,
For sure.
yeah.
But it also allows you to walk through walls, and keep in mind, that's the general thing of it. But this one looks like it's heavy PP based, though. Oh well. And of course, you can call it whatever you want: phasing, hardening, intangibility, badassery,
But it's
whatever.
not. But it's not invisibility.
No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So what limit you want to put on it?
I'll say electricity. That
That
was one
makes
of the
sense. It makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you get one special effect here.
Okay, so I'll probably do the spend a PP to become hard as it's just funny to say it. Hard as stone and step down your opponent's effect die when they're trying to harm you.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's very handy. Because the thing is, you can add the dice anyway, right? To your roll. That's kind of without spending power points. That's automatic. So you can kind of harden yourself to a D6 level. But the spending the PowerPoint it actually affects the effect die. That's awesome. Yeah, cool, sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Lady, what are you thinking?
Well, I thought it was the technopath, but that doesn't give me no chance for an IA. It's just me controlling them
Oh no, don't
constantly.
the AI. Give me a moment. We're not done yet.
Well,
This
oh,
is
we're not done yet.
no,
So this is not the part.
no. It's not the part. I would tell you when.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I was just spending my time reading that, but
There's a lot to choose from. It's quite it's quite a good list, I think. And this is much easier. The powers are more versatile, but it's way more fiddly. This is just choose one, done. You know.
yeah, transmute. There was a one that was creating objects. Where was that at? What was it called?
Well, maybe it's create object.
No, I don't think it was creating.
I'm looking through the list. This is old hat to me. Force constructs. Yep, that's what you want. Force constructs. Lady.
I'm looking at the things, the PowerPoint things. For this to be at the line of sight. It's not what I thought it was though.
Well, what kind of ability do you want? What
That's
did
all
the
right.
Umbra give you?
Force construct is like fine.
Okay, so write down force
Okay.
construct, and it needs to have a limit. And either you have to be able to see the area you're going to do it, or you have to make focus rolls, therefore concentration, or there's specific substances that keep you from doing it.
We can do it within
I think line of sight's the easiest.
yeah, line of sight, but if I turn around it'll disappear.
Well, I mean,
Or I
once
just
it's
keep
up,
it.
it's up, but you maybe go concentration then.
My concentration ain't great. My focus
Then
is
just,
just a D4.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's if you put it up, then like Chester said, it's up. So
hmm
you just have to be able to see the spot where you're going to put it.
Right. And then
Okay.
just choose one of these special effects
Yeah.
to apply. Okay.
We'll do line of sight.
I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down, and we'll do the last bit. I'll
Sorry.
tell everybody what the last bit is because I am trying to walk everybody through how this game works. But the last bit that they're going to do is they get another ability, but it is in a magical item form. It's a magical signature asset, and that's where your AI will come in, lady. So I'm going to go ahead and shut away our overtime. I don't know these guys' schedule. I have time. It depends. Are you guys in a rush? You need to go or not?
I'm good.
I'm sort of, if depending on how long it takes.
Well, you can drop out if you like. It's okay. It's okay. We only
30
have one
more
more
minutes?
thing to do. Yeah, no,
Less than
we're
30
Okay.
minutes?
well. Then I'll just leave it and we'll finish and I'll get off. So that's fine because I don't care if the stream running or not. All right, so you guys have done that, and the last thing is because the Umbra has expressed itself through you in this way. Okay. But during your 10 years of training, you are connected to the Umbra. Now, in this world, there's basically three ways to interact with the Umbra and therefore use magical ability because this is all magic based, right? Even if we call it psionic, it's still umbral based, right? Which is why I called this campaign umbral, right? You either have humans that have a tentative connection to the Umbra, maybe some lineage or some kind of potion they took or some kind of deal they made with the demon or something like that. These humans tend to be like hedge wizards, witches, warlocks. They can't do anything naturally themselves. They have to take umbral energy and apply it to a thing, whether it be a potion or a wand or a device or something like that, runes, whatever. They can't do anything themselves. That's the first type. The second type are umbral tethered mortals, which is you. You guys do have extended life, and depending on how you build your character, it could be very extended. But you're still human. You're still mortal, right? You're still alive. And you guys, the Umbra expresses itself through in some way, which we just did. But you also can do the magic thing. You can take magical energies and craft magical things. And you all, during your 10 years, we'll call that your final exam, was to do this. And you have created a signature asset, but an umbral signature asset. So it's beyond a normal object. And therefore, it displays one of these abilities. Okay. Or something different. She wants an AI type of thing. That's what we'll make for you. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to come off a list. That's a perfect idea. That. And the third type are demons, people who have not ascended, because once you've ascended, you ain't coming back. There is no way back. Now the Ador or heaven. Ador is a much better word, in my opinion. Can create its own agents too. And these agents are called the Magi. And you guys need to write something down on your sheet right now. Somewhere in your sheet, write down universal limitation. Universal limitation. Okay? And underneath that, your ability, which not your object, your ability, which we just chose, does not work in the presence of a Magi. It doesn't work in front of a magus. Now, we call them magi these days. In the past, they were called gods, angels, different things. But they're just like you, but instead of being connected to the Umbra, they're connected to the source via the Ador. But the only thing that you guys can interact with are those agents, maybe, and umbral things, which of course are demons, and demons are dead, and they found a way to take possession of something in some way, and they're interacting with the world, either in a very chaotic, broken way or a very slick, dangerous way. But that's it. That's everything in the world is that uses magic is one of those things. Okay. But during your training, you guys have created a magical item for yourself that displays one of these abilities or something that you can come up with, like Lady's AI idea. Okay. Any question? GOP?
Uh, no, I mean, I already had something. So, I do have a question.
Mm.
So considering that my family's history is magical in nature,
Yep.
could it be an heirloom
It
on
could.
my part?
It most certainly could be. But it will. Let's make it a little more thematic to the setting and the situation. It has been dormant for millennia, maybe centuries. It's been
Mm-hmm.
dormant for a long time. And during your training and your magical work, because you were able to revive it. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, nice narrative touch.
All right. It is a Lion of Judah amulet
I
that
would have preferred
my
it to be a menorah, or no,
well,
a dreidel.
no, no. It makes sense because
I know. I'm
Maccabee.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
That's
kidding.
that's
Uh,
that's why that's kind of
you
the theme
shall
I'm going with.
run in the presence of my dreidel. Dreidel, 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 spin, dreidel, dreidel.
But that's what I was
Yeah, no,
going
that's
for.
cool. And
So
just choose an ability it gives you. Makes sense. Tower, any ideas?
Uh, Not really. I'm gonna have to think of something.
That's all right.
Off
You have
No,
the
he's not
list.
going to see this up. We need to start giving. I don't see a list, my dear.
Wait, where's the list of the abilities list? Is it the one we just looked at?
Yeah, it's
Okay, the
it's
ability.
the same
Yeah,
list. It's just
Oh,
in
it's the
an
same list.
asset
it's just a
form
bonus.
instead of
You asked-
imbued inside of you.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the same list.
all right.
But like I said,
Mhm.
lady, you don't even necessarily need to use the list. Just do the thing you wanted to do. You've created a AI assistant, but it's not an AI. It's some kind of umbral entity. You know, a human that's not so desperate that they will steal a human body and become a demon. But you're able to communicate with them, and they have and you have stored them inside of a device, so they are in the real world. They can't experience everything they would in a human body, but they still are gaining some experiences, and they assist you. You see what I mean?
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So just flesh it out.
Do
How
I
does it
name
work?
this?
I
Do I
would
name this?
give her a name or him a name, absolutely, and just and express what it is she's capable of doing. You already said
With
what
this?
you wanted her to do, so just write it down. This is a narrative game. You have an idea, write it down.
All right.
You know, and unless you write something down, she has the ability to call God down from the heavens.
No.
No, no, no. Yeah, but no,
But
you're
she can start the plane and make sure it's ready for us to take off when we get there.
well, sure. But what you had said as a kind of a floating in the cloud type of assistance. That is,
Yeah.
she's in an object, but she has ability to interact with that, which allows
Mhm.
her to live vicariously digitally in a virtual way, which is cool. But yeah, you had the idea. It's a good idea. Write it down. GOP has got his line of a Judah. What kind of ability is it giving you? You think?
Um, what one was it that was showing? There was a duplication one on yours. Oh, here it is. So I think it gives me the ability to make a double of myself.
Yep, I saw
Um,
it. It was on a duplication, self duplication, or just duplication. Here it is,
spend
duplication.
okay. So spend a PP to create a duplicate of one of your. Oh, okay. Step down by one. Oh,
Everything's
that's not
down
quite.
one step. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I would trust you with this
yeah,
one because this takes a lot of thinking and finesse to use that ability, but you can do it. So just flesh
yeah.
it
I'd
out
have.
well. Make sure the limitation is limiting. Flesh it out and name it. Now, keep in mind these ability names, like say duplication, they're very generic. You can give them a much more descriptive name that's specific to what you've created, right? Or not. But yeah, no, you could do that absolutely.
That'd be a very good decoy too. But then again, I could also use there's one where I could just basically turn into a gas, and I could use that to like to scout or basically maneuver myself around an enemy.
Yep, yep, that's true.
That would be really good.
And keep in mind, like I said before, PowerPoints are an asset and they're an actual resource in this game. Not only do you get them for doing stuff, you also have various things already that you can use to gain them. Right? You have things already written in your character sheets that allow you to gain PowerPoints, but you also get them in play. Like, for instance, if you're in a combat and you roll and I beat your roll, you can contest it and continue on, or you can say, all right, well, that's I lost this round, and you get a PowerPoint for that.
Hmm.
There's many situations like that. So, like I said, it's an actual resource. Some of the other resources in this game are, resources, which we'll get into next week. We can do that in gameplay easy enough. But another one is hero dice, uh, which I'll explain next week. But that's another resource. So, excuse me.
All right. Well, yeah, I think you know what? I think I will go with gaseous body just because it would be so useful in like combat, or just to be able to, or just to sneak around. You know, I think that'd be great.
Timothy
Because then I
Olson
could
is
just.
giving us a hard time. I'm sorry, Timothy.
He hasn't been here in a while.
All right. Well, yeah.
I
No, that's
watched
what I'll
I
do.
watched two of the three people watching.
Yeah, that's okay. This type of thing doesn't get a lot, and this, of course,
Yeah.
is a session zero. Character creation is not as interesting. But those people who are interested in seeing how the Cortex system operates, it's a little bit more useful. Uh, but um, but yeah, we'll go ahead and call it there. These guys are going to flesh their characters out for next week, which is general things. What is your hair color? What do you look like? Height, eye color, all that kind of stuff. Plus, but the really important thing you guys need to do this week is to flesh out your descriptions, your descriptors, distinctions, and each of those three distinctions. Because if you look at a character sheet for Cortex Prime, if you make one, um, the attribute thing is simple. It's usually done with a circle, and it has the three numbers. So it's done. It's very, very simplistic, right? Skills is going to be a section on its own because they have skills and specialties. Assets, abilities, powers are going to be their own separate sections. But the majority of the page is filled up with the three distinctions. Each distinction has its descriptor, its expression. Like a sly, weathered barfly, right? And then underneath that, it's going to have a description of how that is. How did that happen? Like you were having lots of stress in your life and you became an alcoholic or whatever. You just kind of, how did those things be? And each of those distinctions have that right up. And then underneath it, each of them have their special effect that apply, right? So the biggest chunk of your character sheet is those three distinction sections. Okay. Any other questions? No.
I don't get
Sweet.
any other questions. I'm good.
All righty. Sweet. And we will check you guys out next week. Keep in mind, in 2 days, we do have Join Accord Ultimate Edition. I'm not sure what we're doing this week, but it's always awesome. So come back and check that out. And then next week, we will start with session 1 of UMBRAL. I'm excited. I got something really, really grimdark prepared. I think it's going to be cool. And I'm glad I didn't really touch into that other than the one little origin scene, because all of this mechanical stuff kind of takes away the ambiance. But yeah, next week we're going to get into it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. So thank you all very much, and later.
Goodbye.
Peace.